call for this workshop. There are 2 items on the workshop agenda. We're going to discuss request proposal for sanitation services. And after that, Mr. Beckett will share with us some thoughts on the process for administrative candidates and proceed. So we're good. Discussion request proposals. I guess I'll turn it over to Ms. Fiona that she's share with us where we're at. Like to have that discussion, please, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Jen Charlton, purchasing agent. We're just holding the workshop as we involve 6 different bidders for the RFP.
You speak a little more about that.
And we'd like to know how you would like to proceed, whether or not you'd like to get a selection committee together. If you, any of you would like to be on the selection committee with us.
Well, what was going to be presented in the workshop today before we decide that? Like,
I assume we set an hour and a half aside for this discussion. I was thinking we were going to get a presentation of the information, but we want to do that.
Because Toss asked, excuse me, at the last meeting whether or not you wanted to have a committee, it was suggested to do a workshop instead. So I would like the questions that you had for me or for any of the vendors, all of the vendors I believe are here, before we proceed with the committee and make selections.
I was hoping to hear tonight a review of the findings that you listed in this agenda for the public and all those.
present to us an overview.
An overview.
Give us an overview of what we have been presented as far as where the bids come in. All of the differences.
Oh, okay, that's what we were,
Yeah,
oh, I'm sorry.
That's what we were expecting.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know you were expecting.
Yeah.
Okay. We, like I say, we received 6 bids and all the bids came in differently, obviously different rates, different prices.
I wonder if it would be better if we stand there, only because you're speaking into the mic there, and here every time you turn to look at us, your voice goes away. That'd be helpful. And then you guys can hear a little bit too, take that later. Thank you for your, sorry to make you stand up for so long.
No, that's
Man, you look right at us so we can hear you good.
Excuse me, we put out the bid and we received 6 proposals from various companies. All of the proposals gave us what we asked for. Obviously we have different fees, all of them came in different fees. We have a rating system, how we would evaluate the proposals, and as yet we haven't actually sat down and done that. We would like to, I would like to know if the board, any of the board would like to be involved in that. If there are any questions that you have, whether or not, because we have the, one of the options was to have somebody here full-time, an employee here full-time from the company. There was a deduction for that if the board decided that they didn't want to do that. At the, like I say, at the convenience center, or somebody here in this building.
So you, as staff, have not rated it yet?
No, not yet. We have the results. Obviously, we have the bid tab, but we haven't actually sat down and done the evaluations yet. I didn't know if there was anything that the board would like, or any of the board members that would like to be on the evaluation committee with us.
Okay, so let me almost say once again about committees, okay? You know how I stand about committees, right? So basically what I did ask was that we do this in lieu of a committee, because we are the committee. Because what has happened too many times is, you know, we're going to build a jail, or we're going to build a courthouse, we're going to do major projects. This is a huge decision because it affects every citizen in Effingham County. So if we do a committee, then there'll be presentations made to the committee of 2 or 3. And then people that aren't there are like, well, how about this or how about that? And so ultimately then we have to all hear it again. So my position, they can speak, but that is why we asked for this. This is the committee.
That was my understanding because we.
That's the point of the workshop. In lieu of the committee, we did a workshop so that we could get input from staff, so we could decide at the end of this workshop what we do next. Do we go ahead and put a vote at the next meeting on the agenda because we have enough information? Do we decide we want to negotiate with 2 or 3 of them because the RFP says we can negotiate? What do we do? So if you could present to, I hate that you haven't already done a calculation of how it's been broken down. We weighted it, but we'll figure that out. but as much as possible, I've reviewed the information that was given to us. I don't know if everybody's had time to. I do think it would be beneficial for you to give us as staff your comments on, okay, here's how the prices fill out, here's some of the differences, if there's any differences, if they all bid identical, if they made adjustments for staff or non-staff, just kind of help make those things clear to us right here now and
Before you get into that, do you have a rate sheet that you use to evaluate
Yes.
these with? Do you have a copy of that rate sheet that then we could have as you went through?
Yes, I can go and print one.
Can someone print that so you can go over with us, or can you do that? Because I think if we had that before us, then we could take notes on that rate sheet.
I'm sorry, I was unaware of that. This
Yeah,
is-
the idea is, remember Sean says, right, last week we talked about, or 2 weeks ago, that anytime you have a committee, and then we got to come back and rehash everything for the 2 or 3 that weren't part of that committee. So we're going to do a long extended workshop, an hour and a half, so we can have this time
Vet it.
to vet it through the process. So if we can get, if somebody can print those for us, I think it'd be helpful. So we don't waste this time together, and we can start rating it together. And then,
It's,
we're not completely prepared, and maybe we have to do this a little bit again, but we'll use our time wisely since we're already here. So can somebody print that, and then you start going over the information that you provided for us?
yes. Excuse me, as I said, we received 6 proposals and they were all, as we requested, all the bid documents were in order. The lowest bidder for basic services is a company called Allgreen, followed by Republic, and then Ryland, and after them Waste Pro, then Atlantic, and then Waste Management. That's just for the basic services. That doesn't include any roll-on or pickups or anything like that. That just includes the pickup of trash and the pickup of recyclables. It also includes the convenience centre, running the convenience centre, and the special projects, and the deduction for the full-time employee.
Okay, so speak about convenience center and special projects.
I'm sorry.
Speak about what the convenience center does and where the special project.
The special projects is the 5 annual pickups. I think it was 5 that we put in there, one for each
Still
district.
watching.
You guys speak up.
I'm
I'm sorry, the special projects is the 5 pickups every year, one for each district, and all of the people can bring their trash to a
And that's
central
included in
location.
all of their prices, is that correct?
Yes, that's
Okay.
included in the base price.
Okay.
And then operating the convenience centre, they would operate the convenience centre for the county.
And that's in the base price also?
Yes,
Okay.
that's included in the base price.
Okay.
They also, as I said, they also included a deduction if they had a full-time employee working dedicated just to our contract, so that we had the option whether or not we would choose to have that in there.
I don't know what y'all's opinion is. I don't see why we need a full-time employee. Does anybody in my district have a problem? I mean, they're going to call me.
Yeah. I agree with that completely, as far as I do feel that if indeed we have service going well, you don't get as many complaints, and the goal is to have service going well. So at some point we have to get there. I will say in various conversations with different ones, someone made a comment to me that one of the reasons they put a deduction because they'd like to see that they didn't mind the staff being in there or whatever for the first 3 months until everything was, if we indeed made a change, then that would give them time during conversion to iron the kinks out, and then we can make the deduction at that point. That seemed like a reasonable thing. And I will say this, the board will have to decide, because sometimes we allow people to speak in workshops and sometimes we don't. But since it seems like the room is filled with mostly people that have probably been on this here, maybe at some point in time, if the board's comfortable, we could allot each company 5 minutes.
Sure.
And that would be helpful to us as well. So maybe we can do that. Anybody that's here could have 5 minutes, and they could kind of get their facts to us in case there's something that you might not cover.
So all the contracts include the 5 special pickups a year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Operating convenience center, what does that entail, operating convenience center? The money that's collected, is that money less cost given to the county, or is that money that's used for freight costs? Who gets the money at the convenience center?
They will collect the money.
They collect it and they use it.
Yes, that's why, and then we pay them to operate the convenience centre for us, and then I believe it's 8 cents a pound and then it changes if it's tires or something like that, but,
Do we get any remuneration at all for them using?
I don't believe we do.
They just
No.
operate.
no, we won't get any of that.
The ones operating now don't need the money because I gave something out of 2 weeks ago, my check still ain't there to money. So, just, well, FYI, the ones managing it, they're not making timely deposits. It was our money, I was gonna raise a question about that.
And we do have an option, as Ms. Jones said, in the RFP, that once we can make a decision with, we can have 2 or 3 finalists, and then we can ask them to make presentations if you like, and then we can negotiate with the one that we choose. We have that option available to us. So if you like to do that, if you wanted to do that, we can do that. We also have the pricing for 3-year-old trucks and 5-year-old trucks. So again, that will be something that you would decide whether you would like to have, like trucks no more than 5 years old or trucks no more than 3 years old.
Do you have an analysis that shows what the prices are per vendor for compared for the new trucks? Here's the 6 contracts with new trucks side by side. Here's the contracts, 6 contracts side by side. Is that in our documents tonight too?
It should be, yes, sir.
Side by side? I see the individual bids.
Yeah, evaluation.
Is there a tabulation that, you know,
Yeah, I do have that.
They're not gonna talk to the page like that.
where would it be? Can you find it on the agenda? There's hundreds of pages here.
Under public service, on the top of page 105, the top of the page.
It's right over the agenda.
We got it on the agenda?
Well, it's right after the agenda.
I think you're talking about it on, just being
I'm
on
talking
the
about,
sheet.
I got each individual one, but we had, you know, all 6 of them, it says this is the total price for new trucks for the land and for
That's what I say, they got it on, they got it again on each one.
Right, you're talking about just having on one sheet.
on one sheet. So you have to flip
So the
the
different
page to
breakdown.
get 2 or 3
A
costs.
comparison on
Comparison
sheet.
of costs.
Yeah.
Way it's huge, it's just hard to really get your mind around it without seeing a tabulation sheet.
Yeah, that's 65 pages.
Yes. Can you, let me scroll to these 65 plus pages, can you just go ahead and give the names and the bid amounts for each of those categories? If you've got time to do this, let's go through it.
Yes, certainly. Just for the basic services, not including any of the roll-on and roll-offs, because that was bid differently.
Let's start with the basic services for new trucks and then used trucks, and let's do all 6 bidders.
Okay, so all green, including everything that we just discussed. The 5 years would be 2 million per year, sorry, $2,622,316.93.
Who is this?
All green, all green,
Old Green?
all.
All green,
Sorry, all
okay.
green, sorry.
Okay.
Republic is 3,023,025.40. Waste Pro, $3,270,144.40. Atlantic, $3,502,451.50. Ryland, $3,174,282.
That was 174.
Yes. 3,174,282.
But that, that does not include the special projects because they indicated on their bid, special projects would be on a case-by-case basis. So,
Do the others include special projects?
yes,
When you say special projects, is that 5 special
the
projects?
pickups,
5 special pickups. So this price does not include that.
not for them, no.
But they give us a price for those 5 pickups.
She said they said as needed, they would price it.
Just to make sure that it's right. Okay. Earlier, I heard that the bids all included special, 5 special pickups.
That one, that they didn't include a price for it. They will do it, but they said it was a case-by-case basis.
I'm sure they'll do it at the right price. I don't know what it's going to cost.
It's okay, they didn't provide it.
Okay, that's 5, what's the other more?
And waste management, $3,989,279.41.
These are the new trucks.
That's the 5-year-old trucks.
5-year-old trucks, okay?
Okay, this price is with all of them having 5-year-old trucks, or some of them having new trucks?
I'll bring 2.
It's trucks no more than 5 years old.
360. Okay.
And I don't believe I have the one for the 3-year-old trucks, I
Now,
apologize.
this 5-year trucks, does that include new or used roll-off carts? It's all new carts, right?
New carts, yeah.
New carts. All these bids were new carts.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you don't have the prices for 3 years?
I don't have it here with me. I'm terribly sorry.
Where, is it in the computer somewhere that someone can print out?
I don't know if I did the 5-year one, the 3-year one.
On the spreadsheet you emailed to us, and see, and those special projects were not covered in that bid. That was a separate addendum behind that.
No, that's what she said, it's a separate item. Is there a price given, I guess is my question, anywhere to bid for the special projects? No, it's going to be, it's going to
And that was ours. I'll have to put on all, it could be a natural disaster or something, yes.
so we'll have to get a price on that. All right. Okay. So we have the 3-year trucks. We have the new trucks.
The breakdown for the 3-year trucks, I don't have that one.
You have the new trucks, the bid, the new trucks.
We didn't bid, we did no less than 3 years old or no.
Okay, 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years and 5 years. I don't have that one here.
I'm sorry.
I think there are some people that are planning on producing new trucks, but the 2 bid requests were filed 3.
Gotcha.
So some people may be providing new trucks, but we have to do that.
I'm going to try to do the end, is good. The providers here, the providers to speak to those things that may be in addition to their bids as far as services. Change prices. All right, is there anything else that you saw in this review of the bids? Any other numbers that we need to consider aside from 5-year, 3-year?
The only thing is that Ryland, they indicated that they would, there was no deduction for having a permanent person here because they would open up a permanent facility here for the county, dedicated to the county.
Okay.
They do it already included, is that what you're saying?
And that would be included, yes, ma'am.
I'm assuming all these bids include a permanent person. The question is, can we deduct anything off if we decide we want that permanent person?
I'm sorry?
I'm assuming that all these bids include a permanent person.
Yes, they
The
would
question is, can we
deduction.
deduct somebody off and reduce the cost of negotiation when we approve bid to remove that person if we don't want?
I can give you the totals for that, yes. I've got it with that and without that, without the permanent
What's the
person.
additional person or the full-time person?
Okay, so did you want the actual total or did you want the total with the
Okay,
total?
you gave us the total already, is that right?
Yeah, that's
including
including.
for. Okay, so what's the price without the employee?
Okay, for all green it's the same, there was no deduction.
Okay.
For Republic it was $3,083,599.
Okay, hold on just 1 second. Okay, for Republic, the Republic was $3,023,000. with an employee?
Yes.
And now you're saying it's $3,083,000 without, so it went up?
There was a deduction, they deducted for the employee.
So the total price is $3,083, just vice versa.
I'm sorry, yeah, I did it the wrong way around, I apologize.
Okay, all right.
So, right, without employee on this one.
Okay. So were the others the same way? Were the other, okay.
Yeah,
All right, so what is the price for Waste Pro with the employee?
$3,307,050.
$307.50.
Okay, Atlanta?
$3,552,451.50.
Okay.
Ryland, $3,174,282.
It's the same price.
And Waste Management, $4,033,432.57.
It's $4,033,432.
Yes.
So you can assume that all these bids are responsive to everything that we requested?
Yes, sir.
No one's missing any service that we requested?
One of the bidders didn't give us the 3 years, I don't believe. They didn't give us the price for 3-year trucks.
Which bidder is that?
Waste Management.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, did you say you had somebody pull the 3 years?
I don't have that here. I don't
Okay,
have.
so we'll let them get it, when they get up to their 5 minutes, we can get it for you, price from them, so they have it.
The price for 3 years, we can get up and share that, it's going to be helpful. Okay. All we're going to do tonight, ladies and gentlemen, here, we're going to just gather information, and then someone will, we were close to doing a great evaluation, I apologize, we're going to do what we can over here, get questions answered, and then we'll get back together, I'm sure. Okay. So in reviewing these bids, is there any information that finance or purchasing would like to make sure we understand and know about the bids? That's that question. One, secondly, have you had a chance to check in the references? And do you have any emails, reports from any users of any of our applicants that we should have before us tonight?
I haven't checked any references. I do have some information, but
So when you go to, if you were doing the evaluation and providing it to us from staff, and that is something I would always want. I would want your evaluation independent of us, and then we could also do our own. But for the things listed on this evaluation sheet, as an example, just let me ask you a question. Okay, it shows that you give experience 10% weight. How do you determine that? By the time they've been in business? I mean,
yeah, how many years they've been in business, how many contracts they may have, how on the same scale that we have, and how many years they've done those. And if we believe that they can do the job for us.
right.
Do you have the experience information that you can share with us tonight? That who has the most years of service and the most customers?
I have it in the bids. I haven't collated it, no.
What I would say is, I think if she hasn't done this evaluation, I'd say at the end of this, let her do that. And, you know, whether we decide to put this on the next agenda for a vote, because I think that we can probably get enough information together after tonight and after what they say, that we can go study it, we can get back with her individually if we have to, we don't have to have a committee, and get answers to our questions, and then we can get to that point somehow. So, but that would give her time to do that evaluation for us.
I'm just trying to use our time over here.
But we do have those 2 other options. I guess we want to
I know that this small.
Yep.
There's only 2 things you asked, whether finance had any questions, and I brought this up to you already about the difference in the tonnage and the roll-offs, whether that's a stagnant amount or whether we'll be just charged for the tonnage itself. It's in the RFP one way, and we're currently being charged a different way. And I don't want our costs necessarily increase without us realizing that piece of it. And then if you look at the convenience center, you'll see a great difference in the operating costs between these bids. Anywhere from what I saw was $216,000 down to $44,000.
Okay, Joanne, go ahead and do the same thing for us, if you will, real quickly. 1 through 6, starting with all green, is the cost of the convenience center.
I can do that.
Can you
I
do
have
that?
that.
Before you do that, is that in this total cost or is that additional cost?
Those would be additional costs. That segment is separated, but it may increase our overall cost, so I think we need to pay attention to
Oh, yeah,
those two
I just didn't
things.
know if I need to deduct it from this price. So what you're giving us now is additional cost
No.
to the,
No, it's included in that cost.
It's
I
included in
did,
that.
yeah, I did the,
Okay, some people in the audience are shaking their head no, so is it supposed to be included in the cost? That's what I understand.
in the total I just gave you, yes, it's included. I
This
added it in.
this amount here is included in that, those totals? Because it's separate on the sheet.
Yeah.
This, okay, I had seen that out there. I got you. I just haven't seen it.
yeah, I think what you in your hands, what we need.
Okay, so what were the terms? Is it additional or not?
No, according to the figures she just called out to you, no. It's in the totals that she just gave.
It is included.
Yes.
So give us the amount of
The convenience
providing
center,
convenience center so we can see how much that is compared. Nothing else in it, just the convenience center cost.
all green, $15,122.60.
How much?
15,000, this is an average over 5 years. So it's like the first year's 14,400 and then like year 5 it will go up to 15,817.
So that you're doing an average for each year, okay?
It's an average year over 5 years.
All right, I'll see.
What was that price again, Paul?
$15,122.60. Republic, $232,696.
So the first one is on 15,000 and the second bid says up, how much you send it for 252,000?
232. yes.
32.
$232, sorry, $232,696. And then
That English accent's gonna give me in trouble before you know it.
Waste Pro is $165,654.
Okay?
Atlantic, 50,000.
Mhm.
50, yes. Ryland is 0. And Waste Management is $615,891.
Okay, why is Ryland 0? I don't understand that. What, they're just saying it's included so they can price it? Is that right?
They
So that would be my next question as to, if it is included in their total cost, why are we having this, why are we having it price separate in the first place? Is it an estimate that we could get stuck in some kind of way, paying some kind of difference, or why are they showing us that if it's included?
We asked them, I've included it in the overall total,
Okay.
so that we had an idea of the overall total, but it was a separate line item on the bid.
But there are many things in the overall total, is that correct?
On the overall total, it's solid waste collection, recyclable, and the convenience center.
And that's just an estimate, how they're arriving at their total bid to us, is that right?
An estimate.
Is it an estimate or a guarantee? Yet they sit down there, you're asking, break down these 3 items for me, and that gives me to the final price. Is that final price a guaranteed price?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And you're just attempting to see if it looks like that their estimates of the broken down categories is realistic? Is that a purpose?
I just wanted to see overall which one, when you added them all together, which one would give us the best deal if we gave them the contract for everything,
Okay.
like for the trash pickup and the convenience center.
And the company that has it now, they have both?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that something that has to go together? Could we approve one contract for the trash pickup?
We can do it separately if we want to,
approve a
yes.
separate contract for the community
Yes.
center.
Well, we might do it separately, we'd have to analyze at that point if we did it separately, if it would cause us any
Sure, I
possible
understand
problems.
that. I mean, obviously, Ryan's not gonna do it for free and not give you a contract, so I get that, but I just didn't know if that was something that could be negotiated separately. The contract doesn't say it, so one provider does all.
It doesn't say that, no.
And these things I'm asking her, just make your notes and you get your time, you can address those things and say, that's not what I understood, or that is what I understood.
So did finance get its question answered, or does it still need a different, more information on, about the tonnage and the roll-off information?
Yeah, let's address her question.
Was that answered, or you want to include clarification?
What I understand
Already
is,
in there.
currently what I understand is we're paying a tonnage now, right?
We're paying based off tonnage.
Tonnage, so if they have these containers, they pick them up, we pay what the tonnage is, and then maybe a pickup fee, whatever it is.
Right.
But now, the contract is reading, we want a fixed price, but if it's only 1/3 full, we may be giving her the bill and then having more cost than we would have had in tonnage and pickup fee.
Unless they're just including it at less than what we're averaging.
So based off of the fact that you have an evaluation, then you can have oral presentations and then negotiating with the finalist. I would say that's a point that we need to clarify before contract is signed and looking at the overall total. I think the reason why it was done in the RFP that way was so that they could compare apples to apples. What are you going to charge us? But then we need to make sure that within the contract, we're getting charged based off of the actual tonnage.
Do you know what we have been averaging over the last 5 years or something?
I have it in a spreadsheet upstairs, but I don't have it with me.
That's something we would want to look at to compare.
We have the prison, we have the judicial, we have all these different places that at different times that tonnage goes up and down.
Right, to Ms. Jones' point.
But the bottom line is, at the end of the year, how much did we pay for everybody every year for like the last 5 years? Yes.
He may have bidded it based on an average usage, so we may not be getting a full dumpster in their bid. That's something they can answer tonight too. In other words, were they given the usage, they given the tonnage in the past?
I don't believe so. No.
Well, I see a head shaking the FC.
Well, I think the head that's shaking is the people that provide it right now, so they would know. But if that wasn't put out in the information, the
Yeah,
rest
so
would
if we
not.
didn't have that information, it'd be good to know if that was based on an average.
It just
tonnage.
needs to be rated based off X amount of cents per ton.
In final analysis, yes. All right, what we may do, does any other commission have a question for Ms. Gilman before we give the providers an opportunity to share with us? Yeah, let's see what the druthers are of the commission. Probably good if I'll just take in the order of what you give me in the bid. If they're here, they can probably identify themselves and maybe express what you want to share. But I would assume you might want to address some of the things you heard us asking tonight as well. And you might want to address what sets your company apart. Is it your experience? Is it your equipment? Is it your whatever you want to share with us that you can provide to us? Because except for a couple of bids, they're all fairly close. So these will be the most responsible bidder in this process. Okay? So, does that sound fair? Okay, all right. We'll see, is all green here?
Sir.
Give us your name and share with us you'd like to share.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Sam Sullivan. I'm General Manager of All Green Services. With me are the two owners of All Green, my brother Will Sullivan and Robbie Hadaway. We've been in business for 10 years with All Green. Prior to All Green, though, we had our own businesses that we sold to larger companies. Believe it or not, I was your original contractor in the 1990s, Sullivan Environmental Services. It was a company my father and my brother and my dad, my brothers, and I started, and we were the original contractor for Effingham County, so I'm very familiar with Effingham County. I delivered, along with a bunch of other guys, all of the original carts. To this day, there's still Sullivan carts out there. We sold our business to Republic Services in 1996, and I worked for Republic for 14 years.
Excuse me, I'm sorry to ask you, when you said you were our original provider, how long did you provide for?
Well, Republic has the contract to this day because of that original contract. I actually managed it for probably about a year and a half.
Okay.
And then Republic took over the management.
So you provided from like 1990 to 1996?
I think it was 90s, I don't remember the exact year in the 90s, I want to say 97 or 98 is when it started.
Okay.
But I was right here, stood right here and made my presentation, and it's ironic I'm doing it again. We've been in business a long time, we service a lot of folks. Today, All-Green services Tattnall County, Emmanuel County, Candler County, Evans County, we do all of Georgia Southern University. We do the cities of Swainsboro, Twin City, Oak Park, Stillmore, Garfield, Claxton, Reedsville, Glenville, Collins, Hagen. We've been doing this a long, long time. We are owner-operators of our business. We're not a publicly held company. I think there's no greater incentive than a private contractor who goes to the bank, signs a note to buy the equipment. We gave you one price for brand-new trucks. We don't have 3-year-old trucks. We don't have trucks in our fleet to do this. This is about 8 or 9 trucks to do this. Our intent is to buy brand new trucks. On the first day in Effingham County, those trucks will be brand new, picking up trash for the first time. Brand new cars as well.
The price that she gave us tonight, she listed under 5-year-old trucks. So you're saying that price of $2,622,000 is for brand new trucks?
Yes, sir.
So it'd be 3 years ago?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I will offer, if you want to see it, I took Mrs. Charlton's multi-page thing that she emailed us, and I put it in a single page. And you can audit it to make sure it's right. But if you'd like to see it, I have that. But here's the most important part, I think. The garbage and the recycling, curbside, is 90% of the total thing. All those other things below that are small items. They're the 5 times a year pickup with roll-offs. There's some dumpsters at county buildings, but the brunt of the contract is the garbage and the recycling. Our bid over 5 years, based on what Mrs. Charlton gave us, is $1,246,927 low over 5 years. Now you can look at all that other stuff, the dumpsters and the roll-off and the convenience center, and they add up to a small amount of money. But the garbage and the recycling is the bulk of the proposal. As to the deduct for the person, I plan to hire a permanent supervisor that does nothing but manage this contract every day. I would prefer that person to be out in the field with routes and delivering carts and handling customer service issues. If you want that person in the office answering the phone, we can do that. I don't think that's a good idea.
I want somebody to provide good enough service that we don't need that.
Yes, ma'am. I don't believe that's a necessary role. Maybe in the first 30 days, but I think it's unnecessary. My person is going to be in the field every day, dedicated just to Effingham County. We are a Bullitt County-based business. Our office is on 301. If you go back towards Statesboro, towards Georgia Southern, and you make a right at exit 116, we're 1 mile on the north of 301. We have our own solid waste transfer station. That means our trucks dump on a concrete floor. We're not held hostage by any landfill's hours. We have our own facility to utilize at our location. Our plan is our trucks would leave our office, come to Effingham County, perform their routes, dump on a transfer station floor. So we don't have to count on getting to the landfill by a certain time. And then we have long-term contracts with landfills. One of them is Republic's landfill. And we truck it long haul over the road. The most important thing is experience. We've been doing this for 30 years each. Prior to my All-Green years, I did Effingham County. I did Bryan County. I did Springfield, Rankin, Guyton, Pembroke, Richmond Hill. I did Houston County over near Macon. That was about 20,000 customers. We've been doing this a long time. We're not new to the business.
What are your 3 largest customers now?
Tattnall,
How many?
4,500.
4,500?
Yeah, residential. Emmanuel, we run a solid waste transfer station, and we operate a transfer station for Emmanuel. Evans is about 3,500.
What's Georgia Southern?
Georgia Southern, we do all of the commercial and industrial work for Georgia Southern. It's not any residential. But we service about 20,000, 25,000 residential customers if you add them all up, what we do.
In one community, 3,500 to 4.
Yes, sir.
4,500.
Yes, sir.
What's the size of our customer base?
18.
1,800?
18,000.
More than that.
And that's just the garbage. Then you multiply times 2 for the recycling.
So we're going to be at least almost 4 times as large as your biggest client, right?
Yes, sir. But I've done bigger. I managed Glenn County. That was 35,000 plus. In our years of experience in the business, we've done small and large. Our rate is $12.65 per cart for garbage and recycling. It's $10.25 for garbage and $2.40 for recycling. We are lower than anybody else on the recycling end, and I'll tell you why. I think Robbie Attaway has his own recycling business called Attaway Recycling in Milledgeville. He has a sorting line where all of these single stream recyclables are taken to and sorted on a line. Our plan would be to take that material back to our Bullitt County facility where it'll be trucked to Robbie's facility and sorted. There's not a lot of places in the Chatham County area that want to take single stream anymore. But we have the experience, we have the financing available. If you award this contract to us, we're going to be ordering all new trucks and carts. We have the financing ready to go. And again, I can offer my single page summary, but that's for y'all to decide on.
Do you want to give a copy to the clerk?
Sure.
Make copies and provide us later tonight.
I appreciate it. Anybody have a question for
Just a couple of little things, and the document that she sent is a very informative document, but there's a lot of pages to try to determine the recycling, the convenience center. This is important to clarify. It is our understanding that there's 8 cents a pound that the contractor is going to collect on site. That's not in this bid. We're going to collect that, but the only other part that we're charging the county for is a flat fee to supplement whatever else we need. And we bid $1,200 a month, not a big number, because the 8 cents a pound.
That's one of the questions I had that the other contractor may want to address is trying to figure out, everybody's paying for that material that's out there, and the contractor's keeping those resources. I'm not sure why we're spending a whole lot of money when we're providing the location, the inmates. And
Right. It's obvious, and I'm not speaking for Waste Management, just looking at their bid price, I don't think that they were taking into consideration the 8 cents a pound, because I've got them at $48,000 a month. So I think they're thinking, I'm just,
They can address
yes,
that.
I want it, but there's a lot of apples and oranges when you get below that line.
This has been very helpful. Anything else you'd like to say?
I just appreciate it, and hope you'll give us the chance, and would love to come back and talk to you further if there's any questions.
You get your time.
I'm going to give this,
You, Mr. Sullivan?
I'm Sam Sullivan, yes ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you.
Public. Share your name.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate it.
You've been serving us, but
So I'm Randy Dixon with Republic Services. I've had the pleasure of working with you guys for quite a while. Obviously, we're very appreciative of, to kind of go back, I believe we started this contract in 1997, and Mr. Sullivan touched on it. He managed it, but I believe we owned Sullivan Environmental at that time, so it has always been a Republic contract that he may have operated under Sullivan Environmental. We've also operated Glenn County that entire time as well. But I want to point out some of the things, you know, that our company offers here. We've been a partner of yours for 20 years. Like I said, since 1997. We're currently on the 14th year of our last contract written back in 2003. We have over 20 employees that live in this county. Kids go to school in this county, pay taxes in this county. Overall, about 50 of our employees and their families are called Effingham County home.
Okay, excuse me, 20 or 50, like I'm.
20 employees, 50 family members total.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We bid this contract, and we looked at it under the specifications of the 3-year-old trucks. So our contract does include buying new trucks buying enough trucks for our fleet to adhere to the 3 years, and we will constantly be cycling out the 3-year-old trucks.
Can I interrupt you again?
Yes, sir.
Because again, the price that was given to us was under the 5-year-old trucks.
Ours is the same for 3 and 5, so no difference in the price.
Okay,
Yes,
so the
sir.
price that we have from you is for 3 years?
3 years, yes,
There
ma'am.
may be some new trucks coming in there, but.
Absolutely.
You're guaranteed the 3 years.
There will be a blend of 1-year-old to 3-year-old trucks.
Your 5-year, 3-year price was the same with your bid.
Yes, sir.
And that's what, I said, some was the same thing, 5-year, 3-year, same. Okay.
Yes, sir, one price, yes, sir.
So
Is there new?
All branded.
Is there new?
going back to the pricing, I know that was a little confusing when they gave those totals. Our total included a price at the convenience site, which was all inclusive. That includes what we bill out to your customers that come and pay the 8 cent plus the 3% subsidy that's billed by the county. I think you really need to dig into those prices because a lot of it looks like a lot of what was provided was not inclusive of what is charged to your citizens. Our price included every charge that goes out of that convenience site, including the tonnage prices to the citizens as well as what's charged to the county.
Make sure I understand.
Yes, sir.
So $3,023,000 will not be our cost. What's going to come off of that is what you collect.
Correct. We bid that number at $216,920 a year. That includes the tonnage that we collect there. So there will be no additional charges to the county or your citizens. I think a lot of contractors provided that as the price to you, and then they'll go bill on top of that to collect revenues.
So when they just quoted us the price of $232,696 at the convenience center.
Yes, ma'am.
What, that's supposed to come out of the $3,023,000?
That includes what we bill out. Yes, ma'am.
Is that, for clarity?
The price that the county pays on that is only $59,000 a year. $59,160 a year.
On the 232.
Yes, sir.
All right. So to Ms. Jones's point, 232 is in the 3 million. That's what I was asking.
Yes, sir.
But, so we got to pull a number out of that 3 million, it's actually our cost.
We did not bid.
32 that we pull out, or is it 50 something?
Yes, ma'am. You pull out,
Something that-
the charge to the county is only the $59,160. So you're pulling about $157,000 out of that.
Okay, we just deduct 157,000 from the 3,023,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the bid clearly show that, I'm not saying it's just the bid, but I want to
Yeah.
share with the vice president. Does the bid clearly state that, Fiona? We need to make sure that's correct. Because what I don't want to give out to anybody to just a bid. Not that you're doing that.
It's in there. We separated in what's charged, what we separated the 3 cent bill to the county and the 8 cent bill for
So if
tonnages.
that holds up, then your bid is going to be 3,023,000 less than 157.
Less $157,000. Obviously, going into it, we have the advantage of knowing what we do in this county, knowing the routes, serviced it for 20 years. There's going to be no changes to your customers. There's not going to be, changes in routes, changes in pickup days. None of that's going to occur. So your service is going to be seamless from what we're doing now. We currently operate 7 trucks a day in the county, dedicated to Effingham County. That's just residential collection trucks. We allocate 5 full-time employees currently to the county. That's 2 employees at the convenience site. Their salaries are paid out of that $216,000 number that was part of operating that facility. 1 route supervisor, 1 full-time cart delivery person, and 1 full-time operations supervisor. So we already have 5 dedicated employees that work nothing but Effingham County. I know one of the options is to include that additional employee, but we have the ability to, again, I don't think it's needed because we have the ability to dedicate, that customer service is what you're looking for there. We have the ability to dedicate that employee to the county.
So, excuse me, I have a question for staff while you're talking, and I may have to do this, because I do think it's important that we are clear on what we're comparing, so that's what we're here for today. So when he says that their price, they have 2 staff at the convenience center, is everyone pricing having employees at the convenience center?
We ask them to complete operation of the convenience center.
Okay.
Other than,
Okay, I just want to make sure on that, okay.
So our collection service is operating 7 trucks a day. We go back to our facility. We dump on the concrete floor at our transfer station. It goes to our landfill. We control every aspect of your trash collection, from collection to disposal. So we know every bit of it's going. We also internalize your recycling volume. We provide monthly tonnages on those volumes. We give you a monthly report on how much volume goes into our landfill, how much volume goes to our recycle facility. We're a self-finance company. We don't have to go out and get money to buy new equipment. We self-finance. We are constantly, again, putting two cars on the street, new trucks on the road. Our largest contract is Glenn County, Georgia. We pick up 27,000 homes in Glenn County. We've serviced that contract for 20 years. Our second largest contract, Effingham County, 18,000 customers. We've serviced that contract for 20 years.
How many do you have at Glenn County, I'm sorry?
27,000. Overall, our business unit in South Georgia picks up over 120,000 houses a week. We operate out of four different hauling companies in the South Georgia footprint. So when you're talking about from a service expectation, we have the ability to pull multiple trucks from different locations, drivers from different locations. We're able to pool our resources together, which gives us the ability to continue service. In Hurricane Matthew, we pulled in Blue Crews from throughout the Southeast, and we were able to continue to servicing your county because we have that strength of a natural partnership with our other hauling companies to be able to provide that service to you. It's something that I think stands out. It's something that we were able to utilize in a pretty tough time to get through that situation. So, I think, from our perspective, we've just been very appreciative of the opportunity to service you. I think we've provided as far as well-rounded in what you were looking for from your RFP. Experience in the municipal market, 3 years with similar contracts. I just gave you 2 or 3 with 20 years experience. Obviously, we've been here a long time. We know how to service this contract. We know how to provide the most cost-effective, innovative services here.
Randy, what is your cost per residential garbage and recycling?
Yes, sir. We are $10.40 on the MSW and $3.45 on the recycling for $13.85 a month. Total is $2,711,137 a year.
What was that last number? That's your total bid?
Yes, sir. That was our residential bid, which you asked for the total cost for residential service per year.
What is it? I'm sorry,
$2,711,137. But I think
I subtracted 157 from the 3,023, I got 2,866.
that includes the commercial and industrial services that were part of it. He just asked for the residential piece.
59 back too for the recycling center. It was 59,000 cost, that differential from the two.
But you add that back, you don't have that back. We do that back. He
I'm
said,
sorry.
we add back the 59, no.
I was just giving him the residential price. He'd asked for the residential rate.
Don't add that back, the residential.
If you go with this price,
I understand, I got it.
That's okay.
2 million back would be how much?
But we appreciate the opportunity. Again, I think from a customer service standpoint, from a service standpoint, as an option to obviously have good companies to choose from, but being experienced here and having drivers that live and work here and have done it for 20 years is definitely the strength of our proposal to you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Waste Pro. Waste Pro, what's that?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for letting me come before you today. My name is Bob Wolk, and I represent a company called Waste Pro. Waste Pro is a privately held company in the Southeast. We operate through 9 states in the Southeast. We are primarily a municipal collection, residential municipal collection company, although we do offer commercial services throughout our footprint. As I said, most of our growth has occurred through municipal service contracts. We have a philosophy that we should buy the best equipment and hire the best people to provide the highest level of service. Our experience in the municipal realm has been, we have about 2 million plus municipal residences that we serve in the southeast, and that's over 9 states. We're financially strong and have the ability to procure capital as needed. We do not answer to a board of directors. Under the 3-year option of this contract, we would be providing brand new equipment, and that would be our preference. We did offer a 5-year option, but we think that the 3-year would be best for the county.
Can you give us that 3-year cost?
Yes, sir, we did. You need the cost now?
Please.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's $3,315,515.
Okay, that's a little bit higher than the five-year, but it's because you're offering the,
New vehicles, yes, ma'am.
okay.
As it relates to the convenience centers, the 8 cents a pound and the charges that the residents would pay, it was our intent to remit that to the county, and our price represents the cost to operate and dispose of what comes into that location. So that would be a rebate back to the county.
All right, is that part of the bidders that shut down? You know, just have to check that. If you're telling us 8 cents, we'll go back to yours.
Back to the county, yeah.
So 165, 654, minus whatever that 8 cents per tonnage.
Yes, sir. Okay, and in the state of Georgia, Gwinnett County is our largest contract. We serve close to 55,000 homes there. However, we do have much larger accounts in the southeast that exceed 100,000 homes, Florida and Alabama. So at that, if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. We love the opportunity.
Where are you located out of?
We're located in Hardeeville, South Carolina. However, it's our intent to establish a location here in the event that we're awarded the contract.
Establish an office in Effingham?
Actually, running a truck yard here in this county. In other words, we wouldn't be shuttling trucks back and forth. We'd establish
How
here.
many trucks would you have in Effingham County?
Currently,
How many would you have?
oh, how many would we have? How many we have? It'd be close to 10 trucks. Yeah.
Does the bid specify the number of trucks that they'll be using? So no one of their bids specify the number of trucks. So I've heard 7, I've heard 10.
Where would the waste be hauled to? Where would you take the waste?
Where would we take the waste? Actually, I'm not sure on that. I can get back to you on that, let you know.
Is there a problem going across state line with waste?
Sir?
Is there a problem going across state line with waste? Does it have to be in Georgia?
I don't know the answer to that.
Does our current contractor, the public, pick up the waste from wastewater treatment facility now on the LPS? Y'all pick that up now? Is that anywhere this contract is discussing that? Is that been totally separate?
So.
Okay.
Can I answer any other questions?
Mr. Rogers? What's your price for residential and price for recycling per year?
I don't have it broken down. It's the 3,159,000. I'm sorry, 3,315,515 is the total.
But you don't have about residential?
It's broken down in our bid, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody got a question?
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Yes, sir.
All right, next is Atlantic.
Chairman, Councilman, thank you very much. My name is Ben Wall. I own and operate Atlantic Waste Services. We're a locally owned garbage hauler that's been here in Savannah since 1999. Formerly, my father
Actually back up.
Cool. My father ran Atlantic Superior Sanitation. He started in 1976, grew that company to the largest privately held waste collection company in the state, and then sold it to Waste Management, sold our landfill, He got tired of working for corporate America and decided to come back and get into business. And we've been growing ever since. We currently operate 40 trucks out of Pooler. As we bid on this, one of the things that I'd like to say that differentiates us from anybody else is we aim to provide the highest level of service. We are not a low-cost provider. When we bid Effingham, we looked at the problems that Effingham was experiencing. And a lot of it was attributed to the style in which the garbage is getting collected with side loader trucks. And so we provided a bid for rear loader trucks. It's a style that's a little bit more old school, but it requires 2 men. And the reason that we have 2 men, or you need to have 2 men, and the benefit of having 2 men is if you ever have a driver get sick, the helper knows the route. The helper can also see if there's ever any sort of litter or damage or leaks or anything like that that happen. And so we felt like knowing that, the carts in Effingham after the side loader comes, they fall in the ditch, they break the wheels off. Rear loaders don't do that as much. And so we said, let's bid that. And so when you look at our number, we are highest because we have an extra man on the truck. And so that's what ran our cost up. Our cost is total is $17 a month per house. It's broken down as $12.92 for the garbage cart and $4.08 for the recycling. And our trucks will be all brand new. Your carts will all be brand new. And the thing about our carts is our carts are going to have our local phone number on the cart. They're going to call us. Your citizens are going to call us before they call you if they've got a problem. And sometimes, and I've seen this here recently, when you have 4th of July, people have cookouts. Another benefit of the rear loaders is if you have an extra thing on the side, you have an extra bag of trash because you have a party or it's Christmas or something like that, they can pick that up. And so it helps provide a better service. And so we think that'd be another benefit of having us as your provider. We feel that side loaders have less hydraulic leaks. There's not as much movement and shaking of the arm, and it's not nearly an issue. They don't crack the carts. What else? As far as our experience, with my father's experience, he at one point was picking up 44,000 homes a week when he was with Superior. And then when he sold to Waste Management, he ran the divisions for Beaufort County and Chatham County and Savannah and New Brunswick for Waste Management and was their regional president. He's still with us today. He works every day with us. He comes in and makes sure that everything is running smooth. Our current largest customer is the city of Pooler. They recently did the same thing that you did, and they graded us the highest based upon the same people that you see here today, with the exception, I think, of Sam and the Ryland fellow. And we were not the cheapest. We were actually $2.50 higher than Waste Management. And I think they're pretty happy with us. Our second largest is the city of Tybee, and I know that y'all are close enough to know that Tybee is Tybee's difficult due to the seasonality and the influx of people every week, with vacation rentals, and we've seemed to manage that well. And then our third largest would be Thunderbolt. We also have other subscription customers totaling today, each week we pick up around 25,000 stops a week. And as far as the convenience center is concerned, we were pricing in a full-time person at the convenience center. We priced in a full-time route supervisor at $17, and that would be somebody, with a truck driving around. pricing the person at your office. We currently have a large staff in Pooler that's familiar with Effingham. We have 20 employees that are from Effingham that work for us today. We find that they're very good workers. They work very hard. But going back to convenience center, we were scheduled to do have a person there for $50,000 a year, and that was to manage whether we got 1 ton in there or 10,000, and then we would bill the 8 cents per pound to the person. So the county would only pay $50,000 a year for that service.
What was the deduction we could make for the employee at our office?
The deduction, I believe, was $42,000. That was that's the call, or $45,000 is what the deduction would be. And then we felt like, once you talk about health benefits and everything, salary and everything, that's about the cost of an employee that we planned on paying. And I would like to have a person, if we were fortunate enough to get the contract, we would like to have a person here, on a transitional basis, and then we feel like after that, it wouldn't be needed. When we just transferred Pooler, we had somebody in their office for about 2 weeks, and basically they twiddled their thumbs after about a week. So we just don't feel like it's necessary to have that person. And I think you're seeing that from all the waste providers. If we're doing our job, you shouldn't need that person.
You said the trucks would be new and they would be rear loader. How many trucks?
We will plan on having 5 garbage trucks and 2 recycling trucks.
How many rear loaded trucks do you have now in operation?
100% of my trucks are rear loaders. We currently have 11 rear loaders now, and then we would require 7.
Earlier you said you had 40 trucks in operation.
40 trucks total. Those include roll-off trucks that would service at the convenience center, front-end trucks that would say furnished dumpsters. So we have a total of 40.
Okay. And so you have current 11 rear
Yes, we have.
Are you going to have to increase your fleet?
Oh, yes. We'll have to increase, 7 new trucks, so then that'll move to 18.
Okay.
But the trucks, there's 3 that service Pooler, there's 3 that service Tabby, there's 1 that services Thunderbolt, and then there's 2 that service subscription routes like out of the landings in Wilmington Island, and then we have 2 spares, full-time spares.
If you're doing, if somebody's putting 7 trucks and you're putting 5 trucks, is there a difference in the size of the trucks?
Yes, there are different size trucks. The trucks that we've quoted are 32-yard rear loaders, and they compact more than your Saturn. So like when somebody says, hey, I'm getting 11 trucks, that means that they're going to need more trucks to operate. Republic's able to get by with 5 because their transfer station is so close. So that's how they're able to do that.
Well, the size, I will say this, with you saying, if you're saying that you're the only one that has priced the rear, and if indeed it's correct, that it does help with some of the hydraulic problems and some of the cart damage. I will say, other than missed pickups, the biggest complaints that I receive, huge complaints, is hydraulic failure on the roads and damaged carts. That is huge. So if this really is something that helps towards that, that's a big plus.
Well, we did a lot of homework when we were bidding this, and we knew that it was a gamble to price in this higher quality, higher level of service. But that's what we felt like y'all wanted, and you need. And we hope that we have the opportunity to provide you this good service. I think that'll cut down a lot of your phone calls, your Facebooks, all that stuff that y'all are having issues with.
So the rear loaded the individual back of the truck actually set that on
The individual comes in and puts it on, flips it up, and then puts it back where he got it with the lid closed. I mean, right now we're getting these bad afternoon thunderstorms, and your cart's, open with the lid, and it's got water all in it, and it smells bad and everything, and it'll eliminate some of that.
You have a person back there, I'm hearing about that. You have a person back there that, something's flying off or around, like they can make, they're there to help take care of it.
It's a little bit of quality control. I mean, that's what it is. It's quality control. I mean, if you're at the side on a loader guy, he flips up, he's going to the next house. He doesn't see, garbage flying in the back. He doesn't see if there's a leak. He doesn't see what's going on. He's just trying to get to the next stop as fast as he can.
Interesting. Appreciate
All right. Thank you. Any more questions? appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I'm trying to keep this time so I know that we all have a good opportunity. Okay. So far, everybody's had about 11 to 6 minutes. Yeah, anybody else, that's good. Next is Riley.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity to stand up and speak with you guys today. I wasn't prepared to make a presentation, so I'm going to make it brief. First gentleman you heard from, Sam Sullivan. He's responsible for me to being up here. I don't know whether they hit him or hugged him. But Sam and I did work on this Effingham County contract together back in 1997, delivered to Carsonall. I'm with a company now called Ryland Environmental. It is a privately owned company. We are relatively the new kid on the block. We've only been in business since 2009. We're experiencing rapid growth because, number one, our customer service. We have decided our customer service is going to be the foundation of our business. I've also worked for some of the larger companies in this area, and I know and am pretty familiar with the complaints that have been lodged about some of the other ones. We had talks about automated trucks and rear load trucks and all that. The bottom line is it goes to supervision and training. If you train your employees how to run an automated truck right, the lid does close. If you train your employees right, that garbage that flies out is picked up. If you train your employees right, that stuff that sits on the side of the street is picked up and put in that cart and dumped back in. That's the way you run a quality garbage company. I have a joke that I tell everybody. The one thing I learned about all my years working with the big garbage companies is how not to run a garbage company. And, you know, we have built our foundation at Ryland. We currently service about 4,000 residential customers. We are basically in the middle Georgia area. Our main goal in bidding this Effingham County contract was to be in the Savannah market. And we wanted to find a location that we could site a facility and build and expand on and be a part of a community. Effingham County was that contract that we identified. That's why we came down and we bid. The bids as we turned in, we weren't the low bid, but we feel like we priced it to be comparable and to be fair. And our bid is $16 a house a month, which is $9.75 a month for garbage and $6.25 a month for recycling. A lot of that is based on disposal cost. You know, if our disposal costs are high, we have to price that in there. That's why our pricing is what it is. The one thing I'll tell you about Ryland, on the front of our proposal, you know, we're committed to be a different kind of solid waste company. I'm not going to stand up here and tell you you've got a bad choice behind me, because you really don't. You're fortunate. You've got some quality solid waste people in this room. And whatever you choose, Effingham County is going to have a good job with it. And I just want to get the opportunity to be a part of the Effingham County community, come in here, base our trucks here, register our trucks here, pay taxes in this community, have employees in this community who live and work and breathe and eat and sleep here at Effingham County. And like I said, mine's short and sweet. I appreciate the opportunity. If there's any questions you have, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Your company is based in, you probably said this, but
We're in Dudley. That's my hometown. That's where I live.
And your
and you
name?
currently,
I'm James Lanier. I'm sorry.
Mr. Lanier, you currently have 4,000 customers?
Yes, sir. We service about 4,000 residential customers. Most of them are in the city of Centerville, Georgia, which is a recent acquisition for us. But my experience in the past, I have been involved in some of the larger contracts in the area, obviously Effingham County in the early days, but most recently I managed the Charleston County contract, the Somerville contract. I actually have letters of references from two of the contracts that Mr. Wall referenced, personal letters of reference from those other communities. They're in my bid packet. You know, I've gained a lot of experience, and I've been blessed to be able to have a lot of experience and have a wide variety of opportunities. What we want to do is we want to be a part of every community that we're in. And that's what we want to keep that small company outlook, and that's our goal.
How long did you say you've been in business?
Ryland started in 2009.
Your office is in
In Dublin, yes, sir.
So you have Centerville contract?
Yes, sir. We just recently purchased the City of Centerville Sanitation. The contract from Centerville Sanitation itself, that's going to be the hub for our Middle Georgia operation, and we're going to be expanding there in the Houston County area.
So you'll have to find a base of operation out here?
Yes, sir. We're looking. We've actually looked at property, and we've already talked to a couple of real estate agents. And one of my partner's brother is a physician over in Savannah, so we're really familiar with the area, and we know a lot of property that is available for building on. And we want something we can expand on.
you already have a process by which you'll be able to transfer this garbage to a transfer station?
Yes, sir. What we're gonna do is, we're not like the big guys. We don't own landfills.
Correct.
But the one thing I know, they gotta feed them, and somebody wants that waste, and somebody's gonna be asking me to bring them that waste. So I'm pretty sure that somebody will give me a price that will make it beneficial for us and the county for us to bring that waste to them.
How many trucks did you anticipate putting on the road?
When I did my calculations, I routed it for 8 trucks, and that put me a little fluff in there, because if you know anything about the garbage business, trucks break down, things happen, you always need something extra. So I did it with 8 trucks. And mine is an automated collection system.
Did anybody else bid with the rear loader? Beyond?
They didn't say.
And if you look at your bid specs, one thing I did want to bring up before I sit back down, the total cost that Ryland bid is $3,174,281.90. That is based on the calculation of 995 times 19, 195,750 pickups. So those costs for that convenience center and all those associated things are not in these base bids. They're not in those $3 million figures that they give you, according to the bid specs. And the thing also that we put in there for the operation of the convenience center is we charge nothing, because we assumed that the 8 cents a pound was kept by the contractor, and we felt like that would generate enough income to operate the convenience center, so it shouldn't be a cost to the county.
I agree with that last sentiment.
Yes, sir. Well, again, thank y'all for the opportunity. If there's anything else you have any questions about, just let me know and I'll be glad to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And last but not least, Waste Management. Are with us today? Waste Management's not with us today? Any final questions or discussions from the commission? We'll receive this information and we'll let staff do the full evaluation, and we'll do that with them again.
So what's our time?
Yeah, what is that time? How long is this good for?
We have to have something in place. The contract expires at the end of November.
I personally feel like, based on what the commission wants to do, that probably we could put it on the next agenda for a vote, or the following, whichever way you're comfortable with. But I personally think between what I've heard today, the information I've already studied, and any future questions that we'll have answered, that I could vote at the next
You ready
meeting.
for the next meeting?
That would be okay with me. That's up to you guys if you feel like at that meeting you could vote.
I feel like a vote next meeting also, but I didn't know if others would feel more comfortable. Do we choose 3 finalists, 2 finalists, then the next meeting, then the following meeting?
Well, I was going to say, what I was
Break it down.
between them, when Deanna does her study, she could contact whomever to show up for the next meeting if we have any future questions, but.
So do it all in one meeting.
You could tell that, at least my first question, how long the bid's good for? Because if it's only good for 30 days, 45 days, we need to know that. We need to make sure we process within the time frame of the bid. Okay, so we should be good, because the bids just came out about a month ago. Okay, we're good. Let's do that. Let's plan to put this on the next agenda.
Does that give you enough time to have it ready by Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's got the information.
But we can always, if we don't have the information that we think we need, we can table it, but if we get on the agenda and we're ready, we can move forward. So if you'll do that for us and email that to us, and we'll have that start looking at.
Well,
I think
I think in fairness, if any, I mean, some of these presentations talk about having to acquire trucks sooner than later, or getting new trucks. That
That's
would
what I
be
think.
helpful to
If we end up
contract.
going with somebody that says they're going to get new trucks, the fair and reasonable thing is let's get that, give them the time to make that happen, so we'll do like that. But if we have any, I think with the RFP or whatever that went out, it said that, afterward we can negotiate. So if we have any further negotiations or questions that we want to do, if in between them, we can let you know that, and you can touch base, and we can take care of those items before the next meeting, I think.
And I like them who said it, maybe to the lowest, but we can get the top two that we think are perhaps the most useful responsibilities. We might have a meeting with them at the next meeting or.
We'll have those two show up and answer questions.
That's your choice, yeah. Yeah.
2 would probably go away.
Okay. Sounds good. So we're on the same page. Next agenda, complete the evaluation. We'll take it, get it by Thursday, and then we'll start reviewing it on Friday. We'll start reviewing it and be ready for the following Tuesday.
And I'll just make a suggestion, one thing we might want to do that I think would be a good idea, and I think we've done this before, and maybe in a hiring position, is that if each one of us rate them separately, we can come up with the top 2 or 3, maybe that would
And would it be wise to coordinate, because we don't need a full discussion on the other night, but would it be wise to have a workshop at 4:30 to review our stuff together then before we go to the meeting, or is that necessary? Because that is a public hearing meeting, so it's going to be a lot of stuff at the end.
won't be necessary for me, but
Would you like to have an extra
4:30.
Would you like to have extra minutes, or you're okay? I just know it's going to be a good little discussion. We've got a public hearing that night, so it's going to be a late meeting. You can do it.
If you need it, I can do it.
And I won't care if I do it. Okay, so what we're looking at is a workshop at 4:30, where we'll invite, it'll be a public workshop, anybody can come, but if we narrow it down to 2 or 3 that we want to spend some more time with. Okay? And just see that we're going about 11 o'clock, public hearings, if we don't choose someone at 4:30. Okay? All right.
So everybody was present at 7, next meeting.
They were aware.
Well, thank y'all for showing up and taking the time to talk to us.
A good presentation for everybody. Good, very responsive. Thank you so much. We're going to move to our next item. Becky, is this something that you want to do a open session, or do you need an executive session?
No, I think we can handle this portion of it in another session.
Give it about a minute.
Another act.
What's the just so we have time for a break?
It'll take about 15 minutes, so we should have plenty of time.
There would be any blackness for that thing, there would be a lot of names and
All right.
eyes, head.
If we can give Mr. Brody our attention, we'll go ahead and have him direct us on how we're going to proceed, or recommend for proceeding with our hiring our administrator, and hopefully in about 10 minutes, we'll get some water and the rest of the way. Okay?
Did you say water and whiskey break?
Water and whiskey break.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'd like to take just a few moments to go ahead and kick off your process and propose to you a timetable for selection of your county administrator. And before I do that, I'd like to mention one thing to you. I just handed out an additional applicant that we received just moments ago, and it's possible over the course of the next 31 minutes that you could get another applicant, but your total was 22 applicants so far for the position. I will tell you that normally when I do this, you want it right there.
Thank you,
Okay. Normally I receive about 45 to 50 applicants for a position like this, but, and it's a big but, you have
Heard about
more,
us?
pardon me?
Have you heard about us?
Yeah. You have more qualified applicants for this position than normal. I'm very impressed with the quality of most of the candidates that you have for the position. So, having said that, I'd like to go over the booklet with you, so as you read through it, you'll have an idea of what it is you're looking at, the purpose of the material. First of all, I've included a copy of the advertisement that we put in the GMA ACCG newsletter. It's widely distributed, and as you can tell, we've got some out-of-state candidates, some of whom have Georgia experience. But that's always been a good, reliable source for advertising. Then I've included the job description that you have currently for the county administrator's position. The blue notes are notes that Toss inserted into the job description. I think those are things that you possibly are aware of. The fourth thing is a booklet that I really encourage you, if you have time to read. It's recruitment guidelines for a city manager, but the same criteria applies to the selection of a county administrator or a county manager. So if you have time to go through that, I'd strongly recommend that you do it. It's an ICMA publication. ICMA, of course, is our professional organization. Then I've given you the county wage and salary survey. I did that for a reason, and it's dated. You'll note that the salary that's in there for Effingham County is not the salary that you were paying prior administrator. These things always run a year behind, but it gives you an idea of salaries that are being paid for B counties, your B county, just to help you with that. I've also given you a copy of job listings so you know who your competition has been in the past, potentially, both from the standpoint of Georgia and from the standpoint of the U.S. So you can look at some of the nationwide applications as well as some of the Georgia applications, and you say, well, why nationwide? Well, some of these individuals have strong qualifications, and they're not just going to limit their search to Georgia necessarily. A good manager can go pretty much anywhere. Then I've given you some selection information, and I'd ask that you consider this very carefully for next week on the extent of they're just things that are relative to the selection of your candidate that would help me or help you or help both of us in determining the involvement in the selection process. Then I've given you interview expectations and questions that would be appropriate or inappropriate. One of the things that you'll need to decide is how you want to proceed with the questioning process. There are any number of ways to do that, entirely up to you. I also have given you a sheet on here that indicates to you some things that you might actually expect to hear from the candidate before you begin the negotiation process once you get down to finalists, so that you're not surprised. And then the back group is a complete enumeration of all 21, and I just handed you number 22, the full material that all of the applicants submitted. They're, with the exception of this last individual, I just recommend you make a note. They're in alphabetical order. They're not arranged by priority. Again, I'm flexible on that. Normally what I would do is I would bring a recommendation to the governing body and give you the top 5 and then allow you to submit more if you wanted, and then we'd have a discussion about those candidates for selecting them for an interview. I have, on one occasion, I was wrong. I do recall the very first time that I did this, we did it kind of by committee. I gave them 10. I said, give us your top 10. I did. And then we took a board and we went around and the council, the mayor and council, made a decision, and predicated on the number of votes the individual got, we narrowed it down to the ones that they wanted to interview, and I think we interviewed 5 candidates. The last thing I'll say before I get to the timetable, a couple of things. One is I hope that you will not disclose the names of any of these individuals until you get to the point where you've named finalists, and finalists are anywhere from 1 to 3. Once you hit that by state law, you have to disclose who your finalists are, and their names will appear in the paper. But unfortunately, if there was a premature disclosure of some of the candidates who are currently employed in city or county government, sometimes employers don't take kindly to that. It's a surprise to them. And unfortunately, it could cause a termination. So please be very guarded with this information and be careful who you talk with about it, please. Any questions about what's in this book?
When is the window closed for new applicants?
5 o'clock. Yes, sir. 5, second after 5 o'clock. And my watch is official. Let me go over this last thing, and this may generate some conversation from among you. I view, and I think I told you this from the very beginning, I view the selection of the administrator to be one of the most important things that you can do long-term for the county. So you want to be sure that you select the right person, the person who has integrity, fortitude to tell you when they think in an appropriate way, when they think you're going in the wrong direction, share information, has good interpersonal skills, can communicate, and possesses strong technical skills. Effingham County has a lot of good things going on right now, and it's going to take somebody with a pretty special skill set to get all the things accomplished to your satisfaction, I'm sure. I'm so impressed with what you have going on. I will admit that I have not been able to spend time on the things that I have particular interest in, like policy, administration, financial diversification, HR issues, those sorts of things. We've been pretty focused on engineering tasks and project management, and thankfully some of you have experience in that, and you've really helped me, and I appreciate it. I'm sorry that I stumbled a little bit in that area. It's just not my expertise. I'm used to having a staff and say, what's your professional recommendation about this? But in any event, here's my proposed timetable for you for selection of this individual. And the reason that it's critical is when you have good candidates like you have, they're not just applying to Effingham County in many cases. They have other opportunities. So the quicker you can make a decision, the better you're going to be, in my opinion. So I'm going to ask you, if you're good with these weeks that I've put down, to talk amongst yourselves or allow us to poll you and pick a specific date in these weeks work. And so let me go over it for the benefit of the public who can't see the sheet too. Next week, I'd ask for you to consider this material, call a meeting, and let's pick candidates to interview next week. That would be next week. Then the following week, start conducting your interviews the week of August 14th. You would start your interview process then.
I'm sorry, excuse me, do you have that time on here somewhere? This book?
You should have it. But if you don't, I'm going to give you another one. So next week, to reiterate, next week, pick your candidates to interview. The following week, on the 14th, commence your interviews. Okay? If you have a good experience in your interview, I want you to pick at least 2 candidates. You can pick more than that, but I want you to name 2 that you're really, really comfortable with at that point in time. My experience is often you'll have a favorite candidate, but the negotiation breaks down over salary or benefits or whatever. And so you need to have a next favorite kind of candidate, just in case your negotiations break down. It ought to be not a candidate who's a second place person, but a candidate who's equally good, but the other candidate's just a little better. You would be happy with either one of them. Then on August the 21st, during that week, I would recommend that you go ahead and select your individual following any negotiation with your top candidate, and then make the announcement. 14 days has to run from the time that you have finalists, whether that's 3, 2, or 1. 14 days has to run before that individual can be seated in the office. The other factor that you have to consider is in the case of employed individuals, and you have some, in most cases, city or county managers are going to have at least a 30-day out clause in their contract. That's standard. Some may be longer, most are going to be 30 days. So now then you're getting into possibly September if you hire one of these already employed individuals. And then entirely up to you if you want me to stick around for a week or two to transition that individual into the position. From my perspective, I'll be happy to do that. But the point is, we need to get moving. So I need to know from you if these general dates are okay, and then if these general weekly dates are okay, I need for you to pick a day that works for all of you. Any questions for me?
According to this, you've got us moving because that's pretty quick. That's good.
Yep.
Good. So,
Quick is
so you
good.
call something next week to do our interviews, do the interviews the week of the 14th, and by August 21st, with 3 weeks, hire.
Then you have a 14-day period that you have to set. Even if the person is unemployed right now, you still have to wait 14 days from the day you announce. Unless, kind of like you probably did with the selection of the interim. If you got 3 that you fall in love with right away and they're okay with their name being released, I always ask them, because sometimes well, hey, look, unless you're really certain, don't stick my name out there. I like what I'm doing now, but.
Well, how will our meeting next week work? I mean, do we need to go ahead and pick a day now so we have it advertised?
That was my first question as well.
I mean, how do we?
What day do you need to know? Because if they're gonna start interviewing on the 14th, they're gonna have some time to plan. Some of them have flights, they have to travel, so.
Well, and if we're going to do a call meeting next week,
Sooner the
so
better.
let me know how much advertising time we have to have.
Earlier in the week is better for me. Most candidates will, and if you can't get them all, look, be a little flexible, but most candidates are going to be excited about an interview and they're going to work with you and try to get here. There are only a couple of these candidates that you would have to fly in if you like them that much.
Stephanie, what is the advertising requirements for us to have a special call if it's not an emergency?
Special call is 24-hour notification to the meeting.
And you can conduct this in executive session, by the way.
Awesome.
Yeah, which technically we need to do, I guess, if we're keeping the names,
Yeah, we need all the discussions.
not published at that point in time.
It's an executive session item, absolutely. You are contemplating the employment of an executive.
Now, so we need a call meeting week of the 7th, whether it's the 8th or 9th or whatever.
Preferably
It'll
early.
be a brief meeting, I would assume, to discuss our reviews, your recommendations, and come up with the 5, 6, whatever candidates that you'll contact then for interviews. So let's address that. I've got a little busy this week. I would like a couple of days next week. This is a bunch of information. So I would suggest maybe Wednesday for me, if that works for everyone.
Next Wednesday?
Is that available?
I can't do it next Wednesday.
I can make it happen on Tuesday for you too. Is Tuesday better, 8th or Thursday? That's, didn't give our candidates much time to plan to travel. Can anybody do Tuesday? All right, we'll have a call meeting Tuesday at 5.
5 o'clock.
Is that okay? Tuesday at 5, I'll call meeting.
What's that date?
That is the
That's the 8th.
8th.
I presume the agenda will include executive session.
Right, it would just be a regular session.
Time 5?
5 o'clock.
8, Tuesday. Executive session.
I'll send a reminder.
Tuesday, 8.
Okay, all right, 5 o'clock though. So hopefully you have the names, you'll be ready to go to that meeting on Wednesday, start setting interviews for the next week. Now, we want to pick a couple of days that you like the commission available?
Yeah, but let's make those tentative. And because after you select it, I would want to be sure that those candidates are available on the dates that you pick.
Absolutely. If we could try to get, say you had 6 or 5, one time to the next.
That's going to be a variable too, yeah.
Mhm. And if we keep them getting every night, hopefully we can get more commissioners there as well. So if we get, so we would be wise to pick 2 days to hold open, but you may have to get back to us and say, hey, I need it on Thursday.
I agree.
Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
I agree.
So what's the best 2 afternoons or evenings?
You all are the ones that work for a living, and I know this is disruptive, but it really is important. And once you get it over with, it's kind of like going to the dentist and getting a root canal. It'll be
What would
over.
be better
The
to-
following week, we have a regular scheduled meeting,
Have a
correct?
regular meeting on
So
Saturday.
we're already that, like you said, with executive and a pre-workshop
Mhm.
on Tuesday, so
That's going to be a long meeting because
Yeah.
it's a public hearing meeting, so that's going to be out. So you're
that
going
takes care of that.
to have meeting 3 nights unless you try to do all 5 in one day. But then I hate to limit it to just 30 or 45 minutes. It's a big decision. You may one more time, you can't.
And I don't know what the availability of the board members are or the candidates, but possibly day, not just trying to do them all at night. Maybe a day would be good if people are able to, but I don't know. You can't go to work, you can't go to
As a
work.
general rule, you
Whenever I
might
get-
want an hour per candidate. As a general rule, you might want an hour per candidate. And you got to
I think
keep
so,
them on
too.
track.
We did 45 in the interim, but that was the interim. I'd like to see a full hour for this.
Yeah, that's a good budgeted number for an interview.
So we could go to Wednesday and start at 3 as the first candidate. If people could have time to plan, that's,
Try to do Wednesday and Thursday, then we have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
or we might get several in, like see 3, 4, 5, 6. You won't try to get all of those. We'd be exhausted.
The last man will not get a fair shot.
No, not at all.
Actually, the last candidate usually has the best shot. Because that's the last thing you hear and see.
Yeah, but not through that topic.
That's true. You're sleeping, you know. Well, let's do 3 o'clock on Wednesday. Okay? Fortunately, I don't know what your schedule is. I know you're pretty high on power command. You should be off.
Okay, so 3 o'clock on Wednesday the 9th,
Wednesday the 16th.
Wednesday the 16th.
This is for interviews.
Okay.
And then we're going to also, and let's do this, let's say, 3 to 6, keep your calendars free, so you can be flexible, but 3, you may do 4 to 6, you may do 3 to, whatever you do. This is 3 to 7.
And if we can talk a little bit prior to that meeting, perhaps on the meeting where you're selecting the individuals, about pre-selecting some of the questions, that can help to determine how long the interview will go to, especially if we can manage the person being interviewed. Some people, I'm guilty of that. Sometimes you ask me what Mr. Jones knows about this. You ask me what time it is sometimes, and I might tell you how to build a clock, so you got to be careful with some of these
That's
candidates.
right. And what kind of clock are you using? That's right. All right, so we're going to go, keep calendars open on the 16th from say 3 to 7. That gives us 4 hours. We can do 3 people, so maybe 4, 5, 6, and maybe 3, 4, 5. And do
Okay.
the
Stephanie,
same
you keep
thing.
me straight on all these times, thank you.
And then do the same on that third. I'm just saying, keep a span, so you can be flexible with the interviews. And we'll do the same thing on Thursday. So like one day we'll have at least 2, one day we'll have 3. So if you leave us 4 hours on those days, we may not need them. But they're available for your flexibility. Okay?
We have one on Wednesday and one on Thursday.
So if you keep from 3 to 7 on those 2 days, that'll be our problem. Try to keep the calendars going on those days. Once again, we're not going to be busy the whole time. We'll not be here, but one of those hours, on those days, but keep your schedule, okay?
One last caveat, if I may, Mr. Chairman, is that, well, I'll hold that for later.
But I was going to say too, that we might could, after that, on that, if the 2 candidates that come out of that 5 or 6 and then 2, if they don't mind leasing their names, that would give us an opportunity to start talking with them and making some more decisions.
That's right.
Did you say in all this information that you provided us that you have sample questions that you recommend, or, because I know you just mentioned.
You have a gaggle of questions in here that I've given you, and I'm happy, if you have any questions for me about any of this material that's in here, or what kinds of questions might be better, please call me. I'm more than happy to come meet with you and talk with you about them, or whatever it takes. It's important, and I want you to take advantage of any opinions that I may offer. You can reject them all, but I do have some opinions, having been through this before, so.
Well, I'm going to be very interested in your insight and recommendations. So, take the all commission.
Okay, any other questions for me? I appreciate your attention, and I'm sorry for the disruption of your life over the next couple of weeks, but it'll be worth it. Thank you.
Thank you for that. It's good to have you with us. So I think with that concludes our workshop.
Yes.
So I'm going to, it's really a motion that we use to adjourn the workshop.
Yes.
And take a break, and we'll come back in 10 minutes. I'm going to call to order the Effingham County Board of Commission meeting, August 1st, 2017 at 5:10 p.m. I'm going to ask Ms. Jones if she would give our invitation, please, and then after that, we'll stand, please, in the pledge of allegiance to the flag.
Please rise. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to serve the citizens of Effingham County. Lord, we count it as a privilege, and we pray that you will give us the wisdom that we need to make the decisions, the best decisions on their behalf. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, item 4 on the agenda will consider presentation of a resolution to approve tonight's agenda. Motion?
Mr. Chairman, we do have one change. At the last meeting, you removed this item listed as new business number 6 on this agenda. It's the FEMA agreement.
Yes.
Last time you removed it, if we can table it to the meeting on 15.
You want to table item 6 to the 15th.
Yes, sir.
So we have a motion to accept the agenda, except when you add to that, we can understand we're tabling item 6 to the 8/15 meeting.
Make a motion to approve this.
We have a motion for the agenda to be approved, we're tabling item 6 to the August 15th. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion, Mr. Rutherford, second, Mrs. Jones. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in favor? No. Opposed, no. It carries. Okay. Consideration to approve the July 18th, 2017 regular commissioner meeting minutes. Do you have any corrections or additions to those minutes? Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the July 18, 2017 regular commission meeting.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kiefer, second by Mr. Roach. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And it carries. So we're moving to our agenda. Remind the public tonight, for any public comments, please keep them to the agenda items only. Maybe 10 at the end, we'll give them a chance to give the public a chance to share anything with us. Keep your comments to within 2 or 3 minutes. That helps anyone who wants to respond to an agenda item have ample opportunity as well to express their thoughts. All the documents of this meeting are located in the clerk's office and on the Board of Commissioners website. And so we've had some time later to review those and join us with us tonight. We're going to continue with our consent agenda. We'll come back to our appearance at 5:30 in just a minute. On the consent agenda, we have one item. It's a D, consideration to approve to accept a corrective quitclaim deed for the conveyance of detention pond B in Parkway Place subdivision to Renaissance Bank. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve order number one.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Roper, second by Mr. Floyd. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And it carries. Move on to new business, discussing our agent of record, consideration to accept the proposal and issue a purchase order to, I'm sorry. Consideration, no.
That was old business.
Old business.
You don't need, I'm sorry, old business, consideration to approve an agent of record for other benefits. Credit Suisse.
Good evening. Yes, Chairman, I came before the board on the 18th of July concerning our request to approve or select an agent of record. Background on this discussion was in May 7, 2017, we released an RFP for an agent of record for our employee benefits. At the direction of the board, we had a mandatory pre-bid meeting on May 22nd that was attended by 10 vendors. The RFP was discussed and questions answered. Vendors were told to submit any other questions that they had, and they would be answered by way of addendum that was to be published on June 5th. Any vendor that wanted to provide a bid was to have it to the county, I can't talk today, on June 15th by 2 p.m. on Thursday. We received 8 written proposals. Joanna Wright, Fiona Charlton, and myself reviewed the proposals. Of the 8 proposals, we did not consider 2 because we asked for a flat fee as far as the bid amount, and 2 of the proposals were set up as a per employee per month contribution, or it's not computations. In addition, we had 1 proposal that arrived after the 2 p.m. Deadline, so we did not consider that one either. Of the 5 proposals that were considered, we received 1 from Capstone. Their basic agreement was $141,000 for the year with a discount of $7,050 per year. Epic, their base agreement was $147,000 with no discounts offered. Gallagher Benefit Services, base agreement was $65,000 with no discounts offered. Seacrest Partners, base agreement was $70,000 with no discounts offered, but they did have an additional cost for the use of an enrollment system between $12,000 and $19,000 per year. And then we had USI base agreement was $45,000 with a discount of $4,500 per year. And upon reviewing the information, we selected or give you 2 alternative selection. Alternative number 1 is select USI as our agent of record for employee benefits for 2018 with an option to extend the contract for an additional 2 years. Or our alternate number 2 is select Seacrest Partners as our agent of record for employee benefits with an option to extend the contract for additional 2 years. As far as funding, selecting alternative 1, which would be USI, is actually a savings over our current providers of $96,000 a year. If we select alternative 2, it's a minimum of $26,000 annual cost savings when compared to our current agent of record. Staff recommends the board approve alternative 1, which is the going with USI for 1 year with an option to extend for 2 years, for 2 additional years. Do you have any questions?
I'm going to make a comment to kind of expedite this particular item, and we'll make a comment when we expect this particular item. I did, several of you have looked at several proposals, and asked me a question, and one of my concerns with the lowest bidder, did they understand the full benefits that we were getting and
Yes, sir.
that we would receive, and upon some research by our human resource, we have emails that tells us they will be mirroring our current service, and it doesn't appear that we'll have any lack of service compared to what we're receiving. And I hear that, and I question Ms. Vicki, and I commend you on your research and the emails and the references and the information that you gave us. But I felt very confident that I would encourage this board to, let's say, $6,000 from this savings if we're not going to lose any services. And say that. If the board has any other questions or thoughts, and if there's any of the providers that would like to have 3 to 5 minutes to explain why their service might still be a better option.
I just have some questions.
Okay.
I've asked you these questions before, and I'm just going to ask them one more time.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to create new profiles on each employee,
No, sir.
okay, because Capstone is saying that they cannot transfer.
Yes, sir. I did some,
Under HIPAA laws, they can't transfer the information.
no, sir. No, sir, that's not correct. The Employee Navigator system is a system that we have set up with our employee information on it. And what that does is provides information to our insurance carriers as far as who's going to be enrolled, under what types of coverages and things. The site that Capstone is referring to belongs to Employee Navigator. They have a license with Employee Navigator to use that site. The information that's on the site is proprietary to Employee Navigator. It is not proprietary to Capstone. We have the option to try and work with Capstone to see if they will disconnect our information, our account, and transfer it to us, where we would become the licensee of the site. It would belong to us, which would be my recommendation. Or we can have Capstone, if they're not willing to do that, we can just have Capstone. If they say no, then we'll say, okay, that's fine. And come December 31st of 2017, they will shut down that site under Capstone's license. USI will be able to go right back in and reestablish that account with the same information.
Can you
There's no
verify that?
violation.
So you verify that with Employee Navigator?
Yes, sir, I did. I
Okay.
talked with the tech rep. Yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay.
That's something that is commonly done?
It's usually not commonly done because,
It's not necessary to see.
right, yeah, usually
We need to answer that further to avoid this in the future, what they're recommending is we can actually own that site in the future. So that when we rebid it, that navigator will be ours.
We absolutely need to.
And that's probably how it's handled in most cases.
Yes.
Line
Yeah, if we do that in the future, that will not be a question. I did ask this question, make sure for the record, that if there was any additional work by the low bidder to rebuild those files, there would be no additional charge to us.
that's correct. And it would be, it's not, I don't believe from talking to the tech rep, it's not actually a process of rebuilding the files. It's going to be more of copying the files.
They'll already have the information on the data.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
therefore, since it was there, they can remake that much easier than like manually having to do it.
Yes, ma'am. One of the things that Capstone was concerned about was the special item that they put in for us, which is the stipend that we give all employees for their benefits. Speaking with the tech rep at Employee Navigator, he said that they don't just build platforms for companies like that their platforms are for any of their customers to use. So it's not special to Capstone. It's a product of Employee Navigator. So it would just follow with whoever we wanted. It would be easy for them to copy the system from one to the other.
Yeah, I think basically, I guess if I'm hearing everything that I've put together from talking to Capstone, and then what you're saying now is, in this particular case, Capstone did some work themselves to create that on that software, but also Employee Navigator could have done that. But now it's there, so since it's there, we'll have access.
Employee Navigator did the work. Capstone told them what we needed.
Okay.
Employee Navigator actually built the site.
Okay, I did not understand that way.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
And HIPAA, as far as the HIPAA information, once we select an agent of record, then they fall under the same HIPAA policies and privacy protections and things and all that any of our agent of records would. So there's not a problem there.
Okay.
Okay.
And certainly they would have a right to the information, and we would have a right to the information.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I appreciate the legwork, but if they do all this for $45,000,
Yes, sir.
that is great, but it just, I don't know, it just raised a red flag for me when bids are here.
I understand.
Here, and, I just want to make sure that we agree to it, and all of a sudden, then Vicki has a lot more work on
No,
her
sir.
hands, and now you've got a headache.
Trust me.
That
I'll
was,
check that
that
out.
was what we were trying to be sure of, was that anytime you get prices and most things are here, and then you've got one that's really low, is that company able and willing and understanding properly what they're pricing, so that, but I know that we have really vetted it. We've had the existing company, give input so that we could go back and try to verify all those things, and you've done that.
Yes, ma'am.
So with that being said, what's being presented to us is it is apples to apples,
Yes, ma'am.
and it's just that much cheaper. And if that's the case, it's hard to make any other decision than to go with the best price if it's apples to apples, so.
Lisa Kelly from USI is here. Lisa is the Vice President of Benefits, or I'm not exactly what your title is. If you have any questions for Lisa.
I guess the only thing I'll say is, Lisa, you've heard everything that's just been said, and you concur that that's the correct, so there's no misunderstanding about that. You agree that all that's the case?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. And I understand the hesitation when you see a price like that. I think what's important to understand is these resources that we're offering to you, we already have them on board. We're already offering them to all of our other clients. We don't have to go out and contract with third-party vendors to bring in wellness consultants or ERISA attorneys. We already have a license with Employee Navigator that other clients use. So I think that's why we can price it a little differently than some of the other vendors, is they're already here, they're already at our fingertips, we're already using them.
It's not creating a new cost to you per se.
Correct.
And your office, you have an office as locally close as Savannah, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Statesboro?
We don't have one in Statesboro, we just have one in Savannah. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
all right.
Yes.
So can you think of any service or benefit we might possibly need that we haven't asked for that could cost us something extra in the future?
I can't think of anything offhand. The only thing that maybe down the road you guys want to look at if you want to go self-funded is something like an employee on-site clinic. I mean, something like that would come, obviously, setting up your own clinic would come with some kind of extra cost. But I don't see that happening sometime. I mean, you're fully insured right now, so you'd have to go self-funded first.
If we start going self-funded, we'll have lots of talks.
Exactly, that's exactly right. Exactly.
But you thought you had a good understanding of the benefits and services we're giving, and you understand those benefits.
Absolutely, yes. Yes.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Any other discussion or questions? Is there anyone from any of the providers that would like to have a couple minutes to just speak while they're?
Was there anybody here from Capstone tonight?
I don't see anyone.
And also, this change should be basically transparent to the employees. I mean, they'll receive something where they have another contact per se, but I mean, it's still going to be the same Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance and all those things.
Well, we have to look at the renewal prices and everything for next year as far as the insurances. As far as the employee is concerned, the behind the scenes work, the Employee Navigator set up and going on and electing their benefits and things
Right.
won't
That's a
affect the
separate
employees at
decision.
all. Right.
Yeah, please don't
Separate
say
decision.
interest.
Yes, ma'am.
This is just the agent of record.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And actually, our agent of record would be the one that would be doing that, I would assume.
That's
because
correct.
The contract ends the year. They'll be bidding that out.
And within the motion itself, can we make sure that the board is approving us to seek the ability to own our own site?
Yes.
Yes.
So let me word this for you. Need a motion for alternative one that says, select USI as our agent of record, employee benefit for 2018 with an option to extend the contract for an additional 2 years, and that we would own our own employee navigator site.
See the ability or own it, like, do we know we can or?
We can have our own license with,
Yes.
with the Employee Navigator for $150 a month. That would be an additional cost. And then we would be able to assign access to USI or whoever.
Whoever our
Yes, sir.
Okay.
agent of record is in the future. So alternative one with that caveat adding that we would own our own employee navigator site. Need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
And Ms. Chuck?
I'll make a motion, I'm sorry, that we go with alternative number one, which is to select USI as our agent of record employee benefit for 2018 with an option to extend the contract for an additional 2 years, and that we also own our own employee navigator site software.
Motion by Mrs. Jones, second Mr. Deloach. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. And it carries.
Thank you.
Congratulations, look forward to working with you. I just gotta say, I commend this board before I got here, and then our staff, because I think this insurance cost was not correct, about $500,000 at one time. Y'all paid the benefits. It was a lot. And that was $45,000. That's got to be worth about a meal.
That's what bidding out gets for you.
Yeah. So, well done, I didn't take the service.
5:30, you want to go ahead and do
Here we can. Are you ready? invite Mr. Harris Moore to come up for some special presentations.
Good afternoon, Clarence Morgan, the Recreation Director. Today, we have the privilege of recognizing a group of people who get some thank you, but also some grief at ballpark and events that probably undeserving sometimes, but they are there on site. But we just completed July Recreation Month. I thought this was a great time for the Board of Commissioners and myself to give some public knowledge, public recognition to a great group of people. We have over 90 people who make our program possible, 9 full-time people, 20-some seasonal workers, and over 60-some officials. We always know all officials are blind in most people's eyes, and Mr. Becky can attest to that and be an ACC official, but we all want it our way. Every one of y'all up here who had children play ball, you want it your way. But without a great group of people serving Effingham County, and we think it's a privilege to serve you. But sometimes we don't tell them thank you and we appreciate what you do. 95% of all recreation activity take place after 5 and on weekends. And yeah, we all knew that when we took this job and became in this profession. Recreation always has been after work and on weekend and will be until ever. It'll never change. I'm gonna call some people up now. With my staff is here, please come up. If y'all would just line up to the side, and that way I can call you up.
Would you like to commission?
I have over 75 years of experience on my full-time staff. Yeah, just stay right there. And that's unreal. I talked to the executive director. He came down for our state tournament, and I told him what I had for people being with us. I have a 13-year office manager who actually been with us 30-some years because her children play ball for Springfield, like Mr. Wesley did a long time ago. The Bransons, oh, y'all come on.
You trying to say I'm old?
Maybe. You know I wouldn't say that, Mr. Wesley. But up until 2003, majority of recreation was done by volunteers. Mr. Forrest, Ms. Vera, you, Mr. Reggie, Phil, and Jamie, Mom and Daddies was involved and were volunteered to make recreation what it was until 2003 when we became a full-fledged recreation department. But I want to just say for y'all, if y'all will come down to give our people a thank you and a recognition that we appreciate what you do. Yeah, it's a job, but also it's a profession and a career. You don't think you're part of it? These are my full-time people. Brenda's been with me since her can passed away, but she also was involved 5 years before that. And I'll let y'all give it to her and then shake the hand.
Thank you so much.
Jeffrey London been with me since '02. Mr. Forrest, I just get one at a time. Y'all just stand right here now.
Good to see you. Congratulations.
Ryan Sanders been with me since '03. Ryan was the first intern we ever had in Effingham County.
And he's still here.
Christy Miller been with me since '08.
Thank you, appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
We're gonna take pictures, so y'all just stand over there.
Congratulations.
Greg Hood been with me since 12.
Thank you so much, I appreciate you.
I'm gonna say, people don't give them a hard time, do they?
Michael Hackett is a new person, he's been with me since 15.
Greg, appreciate the board.
Hey, how are you, sir? Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you.
Marsha Bell been with me since '03.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, congratulations.
Dominic Parrish was with Public Work. He's been with me now for about 3 years. I helped Miss Joanna out and them out when they hunting some spots to put some Public Work people, and it's been a blessing. Dominic has been great for me, and I appreciate it. And then I got a couple old timers. Appreciate it. Okay. Thank you, sir. Which I didn't call you old, but these two people have been with me since the 80s when their children started playing in Oak Ridge. Been married, been with me since 89, doing season work. Mr. Roy was on the board for over 21 years. So they go a long way. Mary Bratson and Roy Bratson.
Thank you for everything y'all done.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Now I got fine people with certificates.
Thank you. How you doing?
Now, Edgar Garvin been with me a while. He actually was involved with Clio when they had a basketball team a long time ago, but he's been a banker now since it opened. So this is Edgar Garvin. And the newbie on the block, he played with the rec department, but now he went out valuable employee seasonal is Trevor Garvin. Now, oh, I got it, I promise. And I got one lady back there that didn't come because she actually worked for the tag office now, but she was a valuable part, and still if I need some volunteers, she come help me. Shalane, stand up. Shalane Westbrook, now she's involved with the tag. But we want to say thank y'all. You don't get thank you sometimes, okay? I know sometimes I fuss more than I should, but I want everything 95-100%, and they do a good job. But want to say thank y'all for being a part of Effingham County Recreation, and thank y'all for the support. And if you have not been and walked through the new complex, you need to. It'll give you chills.
It's exciting.
Looking good.
It'll give you chills. It'll give you chills today. But y'all come, y'all stand up, y'all come in front of them, where we take some pictures. Come on, Travis.
Trevor, you lay down right here.
Oh. Yeah. Can you get us? Or do I need somebody to go up?
Yeah, you need somebody to come in right here. and
Jeff, you can come on in. Come right here. You can stand in front of me and Travis. We can be seen. Can I help you a little bit?
I can't get off my knees, that's the problem. Look that bad.
Don't break the camera. Take the picture.
Yeah, you ain't bucked it all these years, so we not gonna break it.
Thank y'all.
But thank you. When you have 75 years of experience in your department, not counting the seasonal worker, that's, to me, that's outstanding.
Thank you.
But thank y'all for what y'all do. Thank y'all.
Your brother.
I saw him this morning.
You did? I did too.
Thank you, Bob.
You come a long way from the days of administration. You coach the first thing, you have to referee. You have to referee. You have to supply the referee for the field every day. You come a long ways in our red parks and some days. we're going to move to our new business. All right, schedule, folks. Item number 1 on new business, consideration to accept a proposal and issue a purchase order, custom truck and body works for the purchase of a new ambulance with stretcher, I believe, for the actual proposal.
Good evening, Fiona Charlton, purchasing agent. The county put out a bid in April for the purchase of a new ambulance. The bid was posted in the usual places and sent to known vendors. 6 companies attended the mandatory pre-bid meeting and proposals were received from 3. The fee proposal listing is in your packet. Based on references, experience in the ambulance business and the fee proposal of $160,791, staff believe that custom truck and body works are the best option for the county. It will take approximately 90 days from the receipt of the chassis and custom truck and body works for them to deliver the finished ambulance to the county. As funding is approved in the current budget, staff recommend alternative number 1. Any questions?
Any questions or discussion?
The new stretchers to be approved, I assume they are compatible to the new ambulance we're getting?
Yes.
I assume, okay.
Funding's already in the budget?
Yes, ma'am.
There's no more discussion, I entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve alternative number 1 and approve the purchase of the equipment as suggested.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Kiefer. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. And it carries.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what's that? Bill or Jane?
Both of them.
Oh,
So I just got the first one.
yeah. Okay.
I heard Jimmy and he said, Bill, so yeah. As long as it got passed.
Item number 2, consideration to approve a final plat and warranty deed for Park West subdivision, Phase 3D, consisting of 33 lots.
Mr. Chairman, DR Horton is requesting final plat approval of Part West 3D located off of Old C. Conway Road. It contains 33 lots and water and sewer services are provided by Effingham County. Engineering staff has inspected the roads, storm drainage, water and sewer infrastructure within the subdivision. All punch list items have been addressed and they recommend approval. A maintenance security bond of $38,130.54 has been submitted to the county. Staff has reviewed the final plat checklist and the warranty deed, as has the county attorney, and we recommend approval.
Okay, thank you, RC. Any questions from Mr. RC? Discussion? Seeing none, I entertain a motion.
What's this in my district, so I'll make a motion that we approve alternative 1 as provided by staff.
Second.
Motion for alternative 1, provided by staff, second by Mr. Loca. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. And it carries. Thank you. Item number 3, consideration to approve a location agreement with NAACP for a musical to be held in the central gym.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I received a request from Ms. Lucy Powell to use the Central Gym on Wallace Drive on Saturday, September the 9th for a musical. The intended time for the use is approximately 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. And if you all recall, you approved to transfer this property to the IDA at our last meeting. Ms. Lucy spoke with Mr. John Henry of the IDA in the event that this property is transferred by that time. He has granted permission that he will go with whatever the board likes, should they obtain ownership after that time.
Before that time.
Right.
I have just one general question about our facilities in the rental. I saw the rate was like $25 for this. Do we have a fee schedule for the use of our gyms and buildings and facilities?
We have not created a fee schedule. We created this agreement based on the use of the Early Street House for the Effingham Data Center that was held over there.
Okay, I will just move forward then, if the board so wishes, and I'll motion in just a moment, but we probably do need to visit our facilities and have a fee schedule, so when someone calls, because there is actual cost, probably more than $25 to use that building. Not a big issue now, but as we grow, have the rec center, people want to use fields and so forth. Okay. Was there any other question or discussion?
Yeah, I did, if, under our current agreement with the transfer, would we retain ownership and be able to do this anyway?
We are
For a
allowed
period of
use of the gym for a period of time.
But
But
for our
technically,
use.
right.
Okay, I was
Yes,
interested.
sir.
That's a good point. I guess they assume some different liability by the different users other than us. That probably becomes an issue with insurance. So do we have a motion for alternative one to approve the location agreement and allow NAACP to use the central gym?
Make a motion to approve order number 1. Second.
Commissioner, Mr. Loper, another tie, so we'll go with Mr. Rhodes on this one. Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no.
As a point of interesting information, I will say that both Stephanie and myself have been asked to perform in this, so might be interesting.
Okay, where do I get my tickets?
We want front row seats.
Are you going to see me? Item number 4, consideration to approve contract amendment 2017-0803 to the aging service contract for 2016-17.
Yes, sir. As you know, currently we have a contract giving us the funding for our senior citizens meals. In this particular case, we do usually have amendments through the years which increase or decrease state or federal funding. In this particular case, there is a decrease of $6,000 to our home delivered meals. This will not hurt us anyway, but as they get close to the end of the year and they see who's using funds and so forth, they do sometimes switch those funds between entities, and then also too based off of what funding they currently have, state or federal.
It's a lot of people getting paid for it. It costs for us $6,500, so
Yes, sir.
that's good. Any questions or discussions from Mr. Lynn? We have a motion for alternative 1, approve as submitted.
Make a motion to approve order number 1.
Motion, Mr. Loper, second by Mr. Floyd. Alternative number 1, all in favor say aye. All opposed, no. And it carries. Item number 5, consideration to approve an amendment, approve to amend the special tax district resolution. Want me to say something there?
You
If
can.
you want to present it, then I'll give the word.
Okay. As you know, for some time, we have been discussing redoing our special tax district. Under the service delivery agreement, we currently are making payments to the cities based off of the fact of roads and recreation being within the general fund. This would then actually create a millage for the unincorporated area, therefore paying for the roads and recreations separately only by the unincorporated portion of the county digest. And therefore, with separating that, there would no longer be a need to make those payments to the cities. I think we've discussed this in several of the retreats. This particular change in the resolution would allow us to do that. And so the millage will be coming up at the August 15th meeting, and we need to make these minor changes within the resolution that already stands, setting up the special tax district under service delivery in order to finalize that.
So just for clarification for the people that are here in the audience, possibly for us, but we currently have been taxing those county-wide for certain things. That the reason we make written check payments to the cities is because in essence we have been, the way some of the law ended up interpreting it, that we were collecting some money that was theirs because they provided what we provide depending on the breakdown of the services. So is it roads and both?
That's correct. Public Works, county roads, and then recreation.
So with these particular items, these are the ones left that we were in essence taxing for the city and then sending them their portion. So what we're doing now is just no longer taxing that for them if we do this. And then they would need to, if they still want to collect that amount of money, the area that the city's residents live in would have a different amount. The millage is going to be reduced by that amount, and the county residents are going to continue to pay the same amount in essence.
That's correct.
So the money's still the same, this is just changing the flow of how we.
We're not collecting
There's a minor difference between what the overall collection would be. I think I figured it the other day, it was about 245,000 in this particular year. Whereas in some of those years, we pay that, or if not, a little bit more to the cities. So it will be a net decrease in the actual tax collected, but also a decrease in the amount that we pay the cities.
So the net effect is that the money we were receiving from incorporated residents and giving back to the city governments, now we're going to give it right back to the city residents who we
That's correct.
And then the cities would charge it themselves if they
want to get
deem
it, they charge.
fit. And I will say, this has been discussed over a long period of time, more than a year. And when we really started talking about it seriously a year ago, one of the things that we did say was, let's be sure that the cities know that we're considering it, so that if they need to do whatever they need to do about collecting it, we're not, surprising anybody, so that they're out of any funds or anything like that. So we did discuss that in quarterly meetings with the cities to be sure everybody was advised and that nobody would be harmed in that way. So.
In a nutshell now, we'll be levying a tax on for the services we provide as a county.
Right.
As a short way.
Well, no, we'll be taxing for services we provide to the unincorporated area, but we're going to separate that so it's identified.
Right.
There'll be a millage for kilowatt, as it shows in the.
Yeah, those are the services we provide.
But there'll be another millage for the.
We'll collect that money
For the special service district, so we still.
For the services we provide.
He understands.
Yeah, yes, I understand. I was just trying to oversimplify.
He was sure where it's at.
One caveat, we need to change the resolution that's before you tonight. I spoke to staff about this, where it says, whereas the city of Guyton, Lincoln, Springfield relied on the 2009 Gwinnett County Georgia Superior Court decision, which held that in the absence of an agreement, county services provided primarily for the benefit of the corporate area can be funded with. Right there, we need to change the wording to be funded with the four enumerated revenues per OCGA 36-7-243B. And then staff appropriately listed those four revenues. I removed franchise payments, and I would add, I think I gave you the document, I wouldn't have to do this. I would add number 5, and other mechanisms as approved in the SDS agreement. The reason that's important, we negotiate, we can use more of those four revenues. We can use loss, we can use bills, we can use interest and penalties, we can use franchise fees. So we don't want to leave that out. We want to identify that we've already identified other revenues. And that's important because they can hold us to just those four revenues. We don't want to know those four revenues.
And you run this by county attorney?
No, I added
The
it.
changes.
That's already researched through the agreement.
To answer your question, no, it wasn't.
Let's talk about it real quickly if we can, because we need to make this resolution correctly. The SDS identifies the revenues we can use. Okay? This resolution currently doesn't identify those other revenues. So all I'm asking you to do is that we identify the revenues in such the agreement in addition to these four, so that no one comes later on and says, you can't use your loss for that, you can't use your tax for that. So yes, we can, it's in search the area.
You're just reciting it again in this document.
This contradicts what we contradict our current search the agreement. We're going to make it not contradict.
Right.
So we would read this, that we'll use the four revenues. It's listed for you, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm suggesting add 5, and other mechanisms as agreed upon in the SDS agreement, because that's how the law states it. You can have these four revenues or other mechanisms agreed upon by search the agreement.
It appears like, right now, 1 second.
Yes.
Brett, City of Springfield, one question I would have, what is the effective date of the service delivery agreement? I know we tend to run into everybody's own calendar years and fiscal years, and what would the timing of that be for y'all so that we can plan? And two, regarding, I guess, the resolution and the agreement, I would say I don't know how necessary that would be because the resolution is really not binding with the city in any way, shape, or form. So the agreements would outline what we've all agreed to. I don't know that reciting the same thing in the resolution would necessarily be that necessary.
Well, yeah, it is. You don't want to contradict it. You don't want to.
But I guess what I'm getting at is it's not necessarily binding on the city anyway.
It's binding on us.
I would agree.
It's our resolution.
I see it both ways.
If we say this resolution, we're only going to use these 4 revenues, then we have bound ourselves.
And if you see something you disagree with that doesn't bind you, you would recognize that.
I don't mind if you bind yourself.
I know you're not. I'm making sure we can spend our money where we want to spend it.
Hey, but with that said, are there any issues that you would want to make us aware of this particular time? I know that we've talked about it at quarterly meetings. I don't know if you were there at the quarterly meetings. I can't talk.
I've been a proponent of it from day one.
Okay, I like that.
We always talk about doing the middle drawback versus the payments.
The more proponents, the better.
So that's one thing I would add, this resolution, if we approve the resolution, approve that amended language to include all mechanisms agreed upon by the service delivery agreement. That way we don't leave any revenues
I
out.
think even if makes a motion is just going to have to make the motion that the motion is stated as the chairman voiced it. Because otherwise, I mean,
That's fine.
that's a
Yeah,
long
we
one.
can do that. And just for the sake of clarity, you're saying to replace what's numbered here right now is 1, 2, 3, and 4 with what you outlined.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and 4 would say that you don't need franchise
Say at
sales.
5, right?
At
At 5,
At
right.
5, and all mechanisms agreed upon the service delivery agreement.
Perfect, yeah. Okay.
Do you have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the resolution as stated in the correction stated previously by Mr. Chairman.
Sounds good.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Keeper, second by Mrs. Jones. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Just trying to keep this out of battle letter law. Let's see. Item number 6, consideration to approve to authorize the chairman and EMA director to sign a receipt-subrecipient agreement with the Georgia Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency.
This item was tabled during the agenda.
You're exactly right.
Yeah, stated.
And got confused by my complex motion before. Number 7, consideration to approve the purchase patrol vehicles for the sheriff's office. Let's be honest.
Actually, Joanne.
Joanne, okay,
Yes,
sorry.
sir. In this particular case, as we have done in the past, we're seeking to acquire a lease on these vehicles only for cash flow purposes. The rates that we've been able to obtain right now, the lowest is the 2.11 for 5 years. That is with SunTrust. We have attached a copy of the tentative agreement with them. We have not gotten back the final documents with them at this point, but we seek your permission, number 1, to go ahead and seek $825,000. That would do 22 patrol cars or vehicles at an average price of $36,500 for approximately $803. And so we are seeking to be able to go ahead and secure that financing with the lowest available rate, which right now is SunTrust.
Question, you're asking permission to finance this. You still have to bid these items out, or you want to just say contract?
We generally do not have to bid them out. We usually, according to our purchasing policies, have to seek at least 3 quotes on pricing.
You're talking about the financing,
Correct.
because the sheriff's office bids the cars.
Yes.
He already has those.
In the
Is he
past,
good on state contract, or is he good?
I believe that his staff researches each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, because this many cars, a lot of times we use state contracts in small governments.
He usually does seek quotes. There are some times when he needs them sooner and he'll pick them up off the lots. But I believe they usually do research those prices in the last few years have done a good job.
Either here or his finance people do that. And I did, something that I always attempt to do when we're doing something this large that, with the sheriff's office is, I sent him actually a text message of the staff report and asked him to just clarify that was what he was looking for. So he did say that he may even be able to get a couple of additional cars as far as not denoting the number of cars, but that if we would approve the, up to the 825, that would cover his needs.
So staff alternative one is to approve as submitted, but you would like to make a note to approve as submitted with say up to 825 being financed.
That's correct.
Not a number of cars. So
Do you need the lender mentioned in there, or just say the lowest rate?
Currently, the lowest rate is 2.11. We are seeking that with SunTrust at this point.
So you're definitely going with 5 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Do you want us to just say lowest rate provider in case something changes while you're in negotiations?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that'd be
it
fine.
sounds like you're ready to make a motion.
I am. Any additional questions? I'll make a motion that we approve recommendation for the sheriff's cars up to an amount of $825,000 with financing with the lowest rate provider.
Second.
Mr. and Mrs. Jones, second Mr. Deloach, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And it carries. Item number 9, consideration to reappoint Margie Sullivan and Kay Jones to the Department of Family and Children's Services Board.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Sullivan and Ms. Jones currently serve on this board in the fourth district's 5th district seats. Ms. Margie Sullivan's term actually expired last year, somehow that got missed. We never got a letter from DFAX. So we're needing to renew her appointment. And Ms. Jones's appointment will expire on June 30th of 2017.
Which one was this?
Your appointment, no, I'm sorry, Margie Sullivan and Kay Jones. This is 4th and 5th district.
Okay, yeah, not me this time.
Right, not you, Jones. It is my understanding from the facts that these two individuals do want to remain on the board. Appointments are for 5 years.
Any questions or discussion from the board? Motion to reappoint Margie, alternative 1, Margie Sullivan, Kay Jones.
Make a motion to approve alternative number 1. Second.
Motion Mr. Kiefer, second by Mr. Lowberg. All in favor say aye. All opposed no. And it carries. Item number 9, consideration to approve a memorandum of understanding between Statesboro Regional Sexual Assault Center and the Effingham County Correctional Institute for Victim Advocacy and Forensic Examination Services.
Yes, sir. This was an item that came to us from the prison. It is based off of the PUYA Act that is enforced, and they were beefing up our ability within the prison to handle such items. This last year, they did go and seek the ability to do this with the Statesboro Regional Sectional Assault Center. They are currently handling Bullitt, Jenkins, and Scranton counties also. It was my understanding that this is at no cost to us, that program is in place now and being used, hasn't been used for the last year. And so
You think about item 9 that it says facility agrees to pay for services rendered. Should that be stricken?
well, there's also a note in here that says the parties understand and agree that there are no funds obligated pursuant to this MOU. So I would strike the other sentence that's in there.
Under I.
Correct.
Strike 9?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sounds good to me. So we'll entertain a motion, or any discussion or questions first? And I'll entertain a motion to board to approve the agreement striking item I on page 1. what it is, it says in here there'd be no cost to the agency, but I said that we would, agrees that we would pay the service rendered, and there's a conflict in the contract already, so.
This is one that we already have.
This one we're already currently using.
Make a motion that we approve as presented except for the change of striking I.
Mr. and Mrs. Jones, do you have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Kiefer, all in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. Number 10, consideration to approve a resolution to amend the fiscal year 2016-2017 budget.
As you know, each several months, we bring before y'all the travel and training and budget amendments. Within this particular document are also items that we do at year end, or at least every so often. It also includes the funding for our FEMA reimbursements, insurance recoveries, and various amendments. I can go through it with you step by step.
I don't know if it's necessary to do any questions from the board, I'm looking over this amendment we have, just a reclassification.
That's correct.
There are no questions or a motion to approve the resolution. Budget amendment 2016-17.
Make a motion that we approve the resolution as presented.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Jones, second by Mr. Deloach. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And carries. Item number 11, consideration to approve commissioner travel to ACCG Legislative Leadership Conference in Augusta and appoint a board member as a voting delegate.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this conference will be held Wednesday, October 11th through Friday, October 13th. Each year, they do ask that each board appoints a voting delegate to cast a county vote on matters attended during the business section of this conference. So we can approve travel and appoint a board member.
Who attended this last year?
Last year, it was Mr. Loper.
I've been doing it for the last 10 years.
Okay.
Is that all?
That's all.
Make it number 12.
Do what?
You like to make it number 12?
Yeah, why not? No, not another 12, no. Number 1.
Is there anyone else interested in attending this? I appreciate someone to take the time to go do this on our busy schedule.
Commissioner Deloach, will you attend this one?
Yes.
Commissioner Deloach? Danny?
Yes.
Yes. 3101, is that your name?
When is this?
32?
October the 11th.
No, I'm already on it.
And that's, I'm sorry.
I'm already on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Lodge is going, and Mr. Loper, you're going too?
Yes.
Okay.
He said he would be a
Yeah.
delegate. Commissioner.
Okay, so we have two, and then
We need one delegate? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve the travel expense and we appoint Commissioner Loper as delegate.
motion by Mrs. Jones, have your second by Mr. Fuller. Okay. And then we are approving the expenditures for both commissions, so I just want
For
that.
today's expense.
For both commissions, okay, all in favor, say aye.
Uh-huh.
All opposed, no. And it carries.
Expense for anybody that wants to address this commissioner. Right. If y'all look back.
Anyone else want? Just one. Number 12, consideration to approve clerk travel for the Georgia Clerks Education Institute and Leadership Dialogue.
As you're aware, it's not required to be on an agenda, but just as a measure of good communication to you all, requesting travel for the clerks conference in Athens. And then there's also a dialogue where I can obtain continuing education credits on August the 11th. Requesting approval for that project.
It says, any discussion, questions for Stephanie? Do I have a motion to approve the travel costs for both of these events?
Make a motion to approve all of number 1.
Motion by Mr. Loper, second by Mr. Floyd. All in favor say aye. All opposed, no. And it carries. Turn to our administrative staff for the reports they'd like to share with us this evening.
I have two, Mr. Chairman. As you're aware, Effingham Now had an article that appeared last week on the Effingham Parkway, and unfortunately that article, as a result of providing the plat and the term eminent domain during the article, created some consternation on the part of some individuals and questions on the part of others. So I contacted Moreland Out Valley, who's responsible for acquiring the right-of-way on your behalf. And I'd like to say from the very beginning, I'd like to commend them for the very thorough job that they did in explaining to me and you that whole thing, but also to respond to the questions that I had received from some of the commissioners. And also there was an indication that a current status report would be appropriate for the commission so that everybody was on the same page and could respond the same way should you get inquiries from your constituents. There are two things that I would say about that. Today, Mr. Manchi, who's vice president, who's been involved with this, with the Effingham Parkway for years, sent material that I think you'll find relevant and will be a substitute for a long, we spent about an hour yesterday talking on the phone in a conference call. So as an alternative with an option, there are two things. One, you have an email from Mr. Manchi that I forwarded to all of you today. If you don't like email, I'll make you a hard copy and put it in your box, but it's a fantastic summary. It's a one-page summary of the status of where the project is now, where it's been, along with some historical information. It's about 10 pages. Maybe Mr. Loper got a hard copy tonight. It's about 10 pages, I think, is what the report is.
I wasn't able to open it.
Pardon me?
I wasn't able to open the.
Then I'll send it to you again and or give you a hard copy. Is anybody else having that copy?
Stephanie, we just have Stephanie copy and put it in the box.
We will give it to you.
Yeah.
It's really a great document. Now, two things, because we talked about having a briefing. That may or may not substitute. If it doesn't, then we'll set something else up. But we have 3 representatives with us tonight from Moreland Out Valley who are here to answer any specific questions that you may have. And we have Will Murphy, Jerry Brinson, and Wayne Roberts, who I believe were on that conference call with me yesterday, along with a horde of other people. It was amazing the response that we got, and I really do commend them for being responsive. And if you really do want a formal briefing, we can arrange to have that formal briefing so that you can hear it verbally. But I really think that if you take the time to review this at your leisure, you'll be at the same place and accomplish the same objective. I don't want you to feel shortchanged that. But if you have any questions, these gentlemen do you mind standing up so they can see you? If you have any questions whatsoever, they're here to answer them. Now, one specific question that came up, and I also agreed Lee on this because I didn't want to get into any specific discussions on specific properties. That then would qualify for executive session. So there are specific questions that you're getting from your constituents who may own property on that patent identified in the newspaper.
What does the actual process
Then we
start?
probably, pardon me?
Where does the general process start? Like residents would be contacted or?
I'm going to answer that, and then I'm going to let them answer. My understanding is they're in the pre-acquisition stage now. That pre-acquisition stage requires oversight by the Georgia Department of Transportation. You ought to jump in here if I say something wrong. Go ahead and you say it straight.
Hey, before you start, I can say just a couple things really quickly. You know, of course, we did follow protocol, and we've been through all the public meetings where we advertised, and the public was able to come and see when we were working on where the plan was for it to be, and they had some input and some things like that. So they saw it in that context. But what prompted this was this story that was just in the paper that our past administrator put out in his last week. And that particular map identified, for certain pieces of property and names. And so I did actually hate that, even though it's a public process for sure, if you're going to have a negotiation with people about taking their land or purchasing their land, hopefully, in most cases, we're going to be able to just work out an amicable purchase and everyone's happy. That's the goal. But of course, when the newspaper prints something, it doesn't always say anything even about a purchase. It just talks about eminent domain and taking. So it brought up concerns, and I believe at least it's not 100%, 90% of it's in my district. I think it's 100. So I do instantly get a few Facebook private messages of people asking, who I talk to, how can I find out? I mean, is it going to be part of our property? Is it going to be all of our property or house? So that kind of prompted this.
Sure. And to answer your question, there are, to be very brief about it, we have pre-acquisition and acquisition phases. The acquisition phase starts when you make a written offer to the property owner. And so we're in pre-acquisition now. And we anticipate, we're on schedule now, that the property owners will be contacted after September 15th. They will be contacted by the appraiser to offer and go and meet with them, each individual property owner at their property, to answer any questions, providing information. And the appraiser makes an independent assessment of their properties, but he or she is required to meet with the property owner prior to initiating that appraisal. Once the appraisal is finished, it depends on the complexity. It typically takes between 60 and 90 days to have that appraisal completed. It's sent into the DOT for a review by the review appraisal department or unit, and that typically takes 30 days. It comes back to us, and we make the written offer to the property owner based on that review appraisal. And so right now, the property owner will be contacted by the appraiser September 15th. We're looking at meeting with property owners after the first year.
It begins on September 15th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And what they'll be contacted by letter typically, and it will have my name, and we can if you would like for them to I know they know how to get in contact with you, but it typically has the appraiser name and my name to answer any questions or anything like that about the process.
So the first contact will be made after the first year?
The written offers, yes, sir.
Oh, can you go contact after 9/15, you said?
9/15 would be the appraisal contact. The appraiser would go out and contact
the individual?
Yes, sir. Each individual property owner.
And you'll say, I'm representing the county board out the way, and we're
Yes,
here
sir.
to get some appraisal of the property. It seems like it'd been better to have a contact, hey, we're going to be looking at it from the company than the appraiser.
Well, the appraisal standards state that the appraiser must make contact. They must offer contact with the property owner.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it would have been good for the company that's overseeing that
To contact yourself.
Yeah, because if I'm there and I know my property's going to be possibly taken, and the appraiser shows up, I'm going to say, you're not getting on my land.
Well, I tell you, and that's a good point. If you would like us to do that, we could certainly send letters prior to the
I think an introductory letter saying, that an appraiser will be contacting you about this, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. I think things like that definitely would make it more comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely, because sometimes, there's school marks out there who say they're here to check your security system,
That's
here to walk your property, and they're just casing your joint. So they need to know who it is. You might, please ask for identification when so-and-so appraiser shows up, that they represent you guys. There's going to be a alarm, we're going to get back with you. Something that just lets people know. Mr. Jones thing, when they read their name in the paper, that gets them all excited.
Sure.
They hadn't even heard from us. They look at us as the culprits then, instead of the ones who are trying to make life better for them.
Well, there are definitely people that don't want to have somebody on their property and not be certain about why.
Yes.
So if you would do that, I think it would relieve my concern.
And I have a question. Would it be more appropriate to send it from our letterhead, or would you prefer that we send it on Effingham County's letterhead? Would that, do you have a preference there?
I think your letterhead.
Yeah, because I want to contact you. We don't want to go these calls.
I understand.
But I think you can say we're representing Effingham County in the Parkway, and we'll be moving forward this process. Any questions, please contact us. And then those who really want to contact us will.
Okay.
That'll give you as initial contact, what's this about? And say, hey,
Sure.
it's just the beginning.
And DOT, representing DOT.
That's a great suggestion, and we will do that. In the next one. Yes, sir.
And I attempted to answer the question in a safe way that I understood, but I do want to clarify. Because she said, well, is it the case that they will be offering easements to buy our house or just property? And I said, I believe that that could vary based on property to property, because some of these properties are very large, like the farms and things like that. Are there any instances in which that you're just obtaining an easement on some of the properties, and some of them, are there any that you're even having to obtain a home?
On this project, not in Effingham County.
That's what I thought.
There is one in Chapel that may be what we call a consequential displacee based on a lack of access.
Right.
So there may be a relocation or displacement.
I was saying that was part of what I was disappointed about, some of the things that were not in the newspaper, and I can say I wasn't contacted, but, you know, some of the points where there's a lot of work to go into trying to be sure we didn't displace
Yes.
homes and things like that. So appreciate your update.
All right, and we'll make sure the letters go out.
One thing for a lot of people, in today's technology world, they want to zoom in on a map of where it's going and see if their property's on, see if it's on their property. I don't know if that exists, and that's probably not the best route, because that's not a legal binding document. It's more conceptual. I don't know where we're at in the phase.
Well, those people were identified, those names were
Yeah.
the names are there, and that's what the story was about. These 46 or 47 people have been identified, and so they know who they are now. They know that much.
And I tell you what we can do, and it's to our benefit to do this, is what you're saying, with the contact letter, they'll know to contact us. And then if they want additional information, they want these things. I know they see it in the paper and you think, well, golly, it's 6 months, why is it taking so long? If we have one-on-one contact with those folks, then we can get them the information they want. We can explain the process in detail about what we're trying to do. And so that we don't have you don't have things on websites and people just.
Yes.
And actually, with a letter, with something going out to all those, if we know the letter is going out and I get asked about it, and I can ask, did you receive a letter? No, well, probably not
That's correct.
impacted.
That's
And
correct.
even now, I can
maybe the
say,
easiest.
even now, I can say that the engineering company is about to send you a letter and give you the information on when the appraisal will come out and things like that.
Yes.
When we want to get a date, since the appraisal is,
Today's the first. I think we can have the letters, I'll say Friday week. That would give.
That'd be plenty good, because we're not going to after the 15th. As long as you get it 2 or 3 weeks before the appraiser shows up, it'd be great.
okay, I'll say mid-August.
Okay, that's great. We'll make sure we.
Pretty good with,
Mid-August.
I've got a different question. Trying to understand the pockets of money that we have for this project. I know we have the 44 million from the state, and we have this amount that's going to be used to purchase right-of-ways and whatever we need to do. Isn't there an amount of engineering funding that the state's giving us to that pays for the services of engineering? If I'm not remembering something correctly.
Well, it may be a Will question. My understanding is the right-of-way funds are reimbursed as part of the 44. It's been budgeted.
Is there not another pocket of money for engineering for this project?
I don't know about that. Will, do you know?
My understanding is there's $44 million out of House Bill 170 money, and anything above the cost of the $44 million is up to Effingham County or Chatham County.
But we better keep the cost at 44 million.
Yeah, but
How do we control the cost?
Can
you answer that one?
Is that $3 million that we have for buying right-of-ways, can it be used for engineering costs as well?
My understanding is the $44 million can be used for any expense of the project.
But the three.
Because there's a difference in construction, that they allow construction. And I'm thinking that engineering and right-of-ways is going to enter that $3 million. If you go to that, you have to pay that out of pocket as well. You can't, you follow what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. The money that's set up, originally it was set up in different pots for construction, utilities, right-of-way, and with 170 money, the agreement was rewritten, $44 million for the project.
Okay.
It wasn't divided out for specific
So you said
tasks.
there's no limit to what we can.
$44 million.
I'm glad we negotiated your engineering down, because I was told by a previous administrator that we didn't have to worry about the engineering costs because that was going to be paid by GDOT. So I understood it'd be a separate pocket of money, but except now it's not.
I think, is there a separate, is there a separate pocket of money that we have, it's just that we have designated that I want to make sure that we're not getting confused with what the 44.
What we originally had was we had impact fees. What we originally had was we had impact fees that we had collected. Those impact fees can be used for this project because it was one of the projects listed under the impact fee study. Currently, I believe we have about $1 million that we have received back. Once we paid for some of the initial engineering, we received that back from the state, and that's the money that we're holding right now. The
That was
additional,
originally impact fees, so we may have some strings on how we can spend that.
that's correct.
That's state money.
No, that's not impact fee money.
The-
And we're reimbursed, so now we have an extra.
So,
was some additional money
in
last.
addition to that, we had discussed the short-term work program. $8 million was what we originally had slotted
For the additional, but
for the additional.
Because we have no way to know.
That's
Still
correct.
don't know.
Because we have no way to know.
Okay. That answers my question. We have no other pocket of money. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being here tonight.
I believe, if anyone is having trouble opening their email with those, I think there are more attachments on it, please let me know. So we need to get that to you because this is fantastic information. I think it'll answer a lot of your questions.
Yeah, I tried to open it on my computer and my phone.
I
Sometimes my
assume
phone.
again, I may just have to get you a hard copy and get it
I'm sure
to
it's
you.
on.
The number that I see in House Bill 170 funds for this project, the total amount was $44,313,284.05. I don't know why right. So you got a little more.
But I came back to myself anyway, but else probably understood that, I just did. Anything else, Mr. Becker?
I have one more thing, and I'm not sure if you have the item or not, but the city of Savannah sent us a proposed intergovernmental agreement, Stephanie. They have
Separate
that.
folders, it's in your great
So
folders.
I ran that intergovernmental agreement first by Sheriff McGuffey and also by Clint to see if they had any interest in pursuing that at all. Basically, Savannah is no longer offering to provide specialized law enforcement or rescue services for free. They set out, as you can see, a set of charges. And the sheriff was pretty emphatic in suggesting that we don't want to approve that from his perspective. And speaking with Clint, he didn't believe that it was worthwhile to pursue it either. I initially thought it wouldn't be, there would be no harm to go ahead and enter into the agreement, just don't use them unless something extraordinary happens, but neither of them seem to be interested in recommending to you that you go forward with that agreement at all.
Is that something like that?
I read an article.
It's in there.
I beg your pardon, somebody said.
I read an article.
Is it in the part that's stapled together?
So unless you need something further, those are the two entities that would be most
I
impacted.
would certainly lean on the sheriff's.
Yeah, he was colorfully emphatic.
Basically saying, don't put that on the future agendas.
You want me to put it
No,
on?
that's what he said, basically, don't put that on the future agendas.
No, he told me to put another.
I don't have a copy of that, but I wouldn't mind just reading
Are you saying what we copy the actual agreement?
That's not, it might be on my desk.
So you could, we can get that.
Well, with your permission, I'll go ahead and
I can
respond
say
to
the
the city
sheriff, if
manager.
the sheriff says he's not in favor of it, I have to read the whole thing to consider going against that. I can tell you.
I would suggest that you.
Yeah, I'd be fine.
He's responsible for that.
That's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Sir. Any of those staff have any reports they'd like to give, comments, anything tonight?
I'd like to make mention, Mr. Chairman, the finance report, you do have that in the folders. And also our meeting in September, our first meeting in September, the day before is Labor Day, the following day will be our board meeting. Just didn't know if you were interested in changing that date, coming that day, or if you wanted to go with it.
I'm gonna keep it because it's not, that's not a particular holiday, but they'll let you know again. That's,
I'm okay with that.
Everybody's
I'm okay with keeping it.
We always change it. Which one?
I list everybody. See only one time long.
yeah, I would keep it.
So you want to keep it?
Any other staff?
Is there, I'm just curious, is there a law that you can only cancel X amount of meetings a year?
I believe there's a law about there's only so many per year you can change the date on. So many per year. That was at some training.
There's something about changing the date so many times, and if you have a certain amount of meetings, don't you? In that amendment? I remember something about that too. I think you can change the date.
There is a
so many
law about
times.
if you have regular scheduled meetings at certain dates, you can only change the date so many times a year.
We don't meet September.
But we don't do that.
You know, the commission will go around the ring.
In short, without getting into detail, I just want to make the other commissioners aware of the fact that the people from Omnitrax have been asking that having some further contact about different things that they want to try to do, entertain water and sewer through Effingham County. They have, as you know, talked to Lincoln, but I believe they're going to try to place something on our next agenda with some changes, and I just want everybody to be aware that that's forthcoming. And I will say from my perspective, it is the first time I've seen something that may be possibly viable. So as soon, I'm encouraging them to get that information to
Now, this will be
everybody.
an action item on next, or they're just going to discuss.
I don't know the answer to that. I don't think we'll put on discussion or action, but just to give you a heads up that it's possibly coming. And it's the first, what I consider to be a possibility of viability, that we may be able to do some things that would make it worthwhile. So we'll have to just look at that, but I'm afraid that's coming.
In addition to that, in order for it to become an action item, we recommend that they get anything to us that can get in the, like by this Thursday, for the agenda as we done, so that you have ample time, we can quickly send information out to you to see if it's going to be an agenda item for action or just discussion. Yes, we need that to us early. If they have any hope of having fruitful discussion that can lead to a decision, if not, all of it will be what Ms. Jones just shared, information, we'll make everybody have a chance to.
It's a very large, important item,
Yeah.
yet it's kind of in our ballpark that if we're going to do something, we probably need to make a halfway quick decision, you know, in a speedy amount of time, because unfortunately it's been being worked on for 2.5 years otherwise. So anyway.
It's in their court here to us in time and fashion, so you will not get pressure. I'll come back.
I only have one, and I'm glad Ms. Wanda's here. I had, and you may not have any input on it. I've had people asking at the new rec facility on installing AEDs. There's automatic defibrillators, I guess. Is that viable? I mean, you have to put it in a public location. Is there a?
Concession stands would be a good place, dugouts would be a good place to put a AED, somewhere that'll be accessible to people in the field.
When you do, does somebody monitor them as far as to ensure their work, like to do a fire extinguisher, you know, have it tested, or?
They're usually good for like a 5-year time
Okay.
frame. Once you use it, then once you use it, you probably have to send it in and have it somebody does have to monitor the equipment, because there's pads that go with that, and they have expiration dates, so those pads need to be changed out annually, or whatever the case may be.
Well, that's something I'd like to look into, though.
That's an excellent.
They save lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All we need to do is save one.
We have been some facilities that can tear down.
But the high school was South
Fire
Effingham.
department can help us with that, because I'm sure.
I wasn't sure who to turn to. I thought about that actually too. Like,
The fire department can do training for all of our rec staff on the, we call them AEDs. Yeah.
We do training
Yes,
as
sir.
well, CPR and
Okay,
AED training as
I
well.
wonder, you would think that the local, the official, the association with the officials do some training with their officials. They're typically the ones there too.
I know the schools have them, and they have used them in South Effingham. Well, I think in both schools it's been used. And they had, say, two patients' lives. I know, one on a baseball field, one on a football field. So they do work.
I'd love to see our recreational staff trained for that, and they need to be out there. All rec facilities are doing that these days, and it does save lives. That's good.
That's it.
In addition, Bill, you might want to think about lightning detection. Is that in the contract?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I spoke with Jason Ron last week with the Brandon Company. All the rain gear recently seemed to fit on the grass cutting. He told me he was thinking about putting another tractor and mower on this next round, and possibly putting 2 additional mowers to get back on track.
Any contract adjustments for doing that, or you just going to do that?
Yeah, he's just going to do that and try to finish up.
The rain is really not only slowed him down, but sped the grass up. It's kind of, you get it at both ends.
I don't have anything.
A couple of quick items, we did meet with Wesley Parker and Associates, a gas engineer, who West, what's his last name? Shared we with, and we do just as a board be knowledgeable. We have been monitoring those crucial programs like our water sewer extension down 21, Red Park. And, so you're wondering how we're doing. I think Mr. Beckett's on top of that. We got some good engineers that are making sure we don't miss anything there. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I apologize, I should have brought that up too, but thank you for bringing it up. But I did, again, I'm an email guy, you guys have to forgive me, and I know all of you don't check it, but I did send an email out today that just kind of confirmed the conversation and understanding that we were having with them. Again, I apologize if any of you can't open it or don't read email, let me know and I'll give you a hard copy of that, but it just outlines how we intend to use it as an alternative to what we discussed previously in executive session. I think it's a better option.
It sounded good to me. I felt encouraged about it.
I think we're on top of engineering, so it's going really well. Appreciate Mr. Beckett.
We're speaking on engineering, now that we closed on the long water and sewer. Are we going to be aggressive now and pushing forward? There's items we identified that we need to improve the system.
Yes, and was that addressed in the email?
Yes,
About looping it all?
about them preparing a
So they
proposal
will
for
run that
looping,
through.
Yeah.
primarily for looping. I don't know that we really sit down and discussed within the spray field issue that you have, but I will. I've kind of taken baby steps to get your approval before I go too far with what I got, because I've only got so much money to work with, as I understand it.
And we may need to think about on the next agenda, item, also to get you input on that, we may need to increase that. It used to be a lot larger anyway. We don't have any engineering on staff, other than Ryan right now, we're trying to get to a meeting. We lowered that because we have 2 engineers on staff, we're putting out 5,000. He may need actually some extra money to spend with these guys that are helping us. So we may need to give us a little more leeway.
I did ask for your consideration either on a lump sum basis or on a project basis. And not just for me, whoever the successor is here, really needs some flexibility on the projects that we have right now. Not anything over the top.
Why don't we ask Mr. Beckett to do this for us on the next agenda? Put an item for a recommended amount per project, go from 5, maybe 10 engineering projects or something. What do you think will keep us afloat until we pull this out?
Yeah, he could meet with finance about some of the history, because
Yes.
at one point in time, it was a good deal larger, and I believe it was at the request of the last administrator that we made that particular thing. And probably, I mean, if I was administrator, I would want to have a little bit more latitude to do important work that didn't take a vote every single time.
And probably we had 2 engineers on board, we don't have a PE on board, so if you get Joe in and they'll give us a resolution.
Would it be beneficial to have a workshop sometime soon as well to talk about that again? I know we talked about it several different times, but it's
That's
been a long
another
time
item
to
I want to
spend.
talk to more about doing the workshop. We've got that and some other items that I think we need to address. How we're going to move the Grandview property and so forth, and need more just an hour or 2.
I'd say let us get past this August, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday hiring thing.
True, but what I'd like you to do is, if you're like me, my calendar fills up quick. And it probably needs to be, if you could, in September, if possible, late in September. So if you could look at your calendars.
Or late August.
Well, the office is pretty full. We got the leadership conference, we got the chamber conference. And I'll have nothing else to ask about another thing on August 29th. So probably September is going to be the first opportunity we actually have to get a couple of days together and go somewhere, at least 2 full days.
Okay, let me be sure of something, because we said 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock. The dates that we set up for those job interviews, that doesn't conflict with if we're subpoenaed for the court case, is that right? Okay, just to be sure.
It was 3 to 7, I figured out. That's okay.
I'm just thinking business hours, the court would be in session.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
When is the chamber retreat?
It's the 24th and the 25th.
So I'm looking at your calendars.
So it's just Tuesday?
Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday.
Thursday and Friday.
Thursday, Friday. But in September, would you want to look at something second or third week in September? If you could do that, we'll look at those those dates. And before you book anything, if those are open, keep them open, and then when we come back to this workshop next week to do interviews, we can take a minute just to see our calendars. I think it'd be really huge to have this for us. So that'd be the week of the 11th and the week of the 18th. We will try to have it in the middle of September. Last thing I've got is there's a class I saw that you sent to us in Effingham, service delivery that sold out twice. I'm going to recommend that. I wouldn't mind attending it. And I wouldn't mind having another commissioner, and maybe even Joanne might want to attend that. But they say there's some really good information.
Where today?
Effingham County, is that what it said? It's an Effingham class. Where's Effingham County? Where's that?
That's fast.
What is it class about?
And it might be good for our attorneys to attend that.
I'm sorry, what was it about?
Service delivery. We had 2 classes that said sold out, so we got this other class, and I'm holding it for officials right now together. So I don't know if it's not like Joanne instances the high school we tried.
Did some of y'all not take that in April as an event? Sounds
Yeah,
familiar
we
to
did,
me.
we did
I
take
did,
service
I
delivery.
took something similar in Vidal.
We drove into the country.
That was about a year ago.
Okay.
It was not fabulous, but it wasn't bad.
I know that you know what we're saying, but and definitely I want to see if Mr. Newberry has the availability to go.
I mean, it would be like a class huge.
We know a teacher, no, we don't teach you. I want to know both sides. You don't know the cards this day. In that position, maybe a couple of commissioners and Mr. Lee, you can go on that. I think look at your schedule and see if we can put that on the agenda and approve that maybe in that place. Okay, that's all I've got. Anything else? I think we have a need for at least a brief executive session. You guys have any issues, huh?
Do you know exactly? Executive
The
session?
one item we talked about last week, we don't have to put it off, but I feel like it would take us but a minute to bring them up to speed on it. Do you want to do that tonight?
Yeah, that's fine.
Probably should. Okay. We were going to do it last week, didn't we? So motion to adjourn for personnel, property, and litigation.
Make a motion to go to executive session, discuss personnel, property, and pending litigation.
Motion, Mr. Kiefer, second, Mr. Roach, all in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. And yield to the
How are you?
You have a motion to return to regular session.
I'll make a motion to return to executive session.
You have a second. Second, what's your name, Mr. Floyd? All in favor of adjourning to regular session, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Aye.
We're in regular session. All right. You get a motion to approve the minutes, executive session minutes.
Make a motion to approve. A second.
Motion by Mrs. Jones, and second by Mr. Roach. Approve the minutes as presented of executive session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
I don't know what I'm doing now.
You're approving executive session minutes. I don't see anything else on the agenda, is that correct?
That's correct.
So a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Jones to adjourn, second by Mr. Roach.